Welcome to Fanfiction Audiobooks. Marvel, Superman Survival Guide. Chapter 1 Trainee Police Officer. A police car was driving on Fifth Avenue in Manhattan, New York. Link was at the steering wheel. As a trainee police officer, it was not easy for him to touch the steering wheel. Sitting in the passenger seat was his instructor, Detective Rami Varan, but today he was in plain clothes. During the one-year internship period, the instructor will wear plain clothes one day and sit in the passenger seat without saying a word, while the trainee police officers will patrol on their own and handle all the cases they encounter. This point in time is basically when the internship period is about to end, and many trainee police officers will fall here, thus saying goodbye to their hard work as police officers for several months. Link was very calm. He drove the police car forward and carried out daily patrols according to the patrol route of the previous few months. He was lucky today as he didn't receive any police reports and didn't encounter any illegal vehicles. The police car arrived at an intersection and the traffic light ahead turned red. Link parked the police car behind a Ford sedan, then reached out and entered the license plate number of the vehicle ahead on the onboard computer. Randomly checking license plates is a common practice because there are too many vehicles in the United States, and many of them do not meet road standards. In addition, there are a large number of wanted criminals, fugitives, etc. who are driving vehicles. Random checks have been proven to be able to find people. Hey! Link was stunned for a moment after entering the license plate number. There was no information about the vehicle in front in the police database. This was incredible. However, he did not turn on the sirens and police lights immediately because he could not stop the car here. So after the traffic light turned green, Link followed the other vehicle directly. When there were fewer vehicles ahead, the police lights and sirens were turned on. Woohoo! When the sirens sounded, the driver in front saw the police car behind him and turned on the turn signal. Link also turned on the turn signal to block the lane behind the other car to prevent any vehicle from rushing over and rear-ending him, which was a kind of protection for the car in front. However, Link pulled away a little to keep a safe distance, and waited until the other vehicle stopped before he unbuckled his seat belt, pushed the door and got out. His right hand was placed on the holster on his right waist. It was a Glock 19, a pocket version of the Glock 17, but it also had a standard 15-round magazine. Link had two spare magazines in front of his left waist. Link was on the left side, coming to the side and rear of the other driver's seat, using the vehicle's B-pillar to protect himself, and his instructor was on the right side. The other party had opened the car window and took out the driver's license. Link could see clearly at this time that the driver was a black woman. However, she was dressed very formally, so she should have a formal job. Link did not take the driver's license immediately. Instead, he bent down and looked at the other party and said, "Madam, the reason I stopped your car is that I could not find any information about this car in the police database." As a police officer, he must inform the other party of the reason for ordering the stop. The black woman was not alarmed, but asked, "Why are you checking my license plate number?" Her questions were very suggestive. If Link didn't give sufficient reasons, she could sue him for racial discrimination. Link was not panicked and still refused to take the other party's driver's license because he did not order the other party to produce the document. It was a random check. "I stopped right behind you at the previous traffic light and then entered the license plate number of the vehicle in front of me. This is our police practice." Link then said, "Of course, this is not the only case. There are also cases like motels that don't register carefully, vehicles that drive abnormally, etc. Random inspection is a common method." "I see." The woman nodded, but she still held up her driver's license. Link then asked, "Is this car yours?" "No, this is the car of my workplace." The woman said, "It's a government vehicle." "Okay, please show me your driver's license." Link said, and he stretched out his hand to take the driver's license. After looking at it, he turned around and walked back to his police car. This black woman must be from a government department, perhaps a legal department. The conversation is full of traps that even an experienced person may not be able to handle. But now that she has met me, she should stop thinking about doing anything naughty, because I am not an ordinary person. Link called the front desk and asked them to check the license plate information. At the same time, he entered the woman's ID into the car computer. Sure enough, the woman was a prosecutor in the local court. The headquarters was also unable to find the license plate information, so Link prompted the headquarters to inquire with the local court, and this time they got the information that the car was a confidential vehicle. This matter is not Link's responsibility. Although such cases are rare, there are problems and it is out of touch with the police database. However, it is not something that Link, a trainee police officer, can handle. After returning with the other party's driver's license and handing it back to the other party, Link said, "Ma'am, you can go now." "No problem." The woman was still playing with words. After verification by the headquarters, this car is a confidential vehicle of the local court. Link said, "The local court has made a guarantee, so you have no problem now and can leave." "I understand, but I reserve the right to pursue legal action." This woman must be feeling embarrassed, right? "Of course, it's your right," Link said, turned around and walked away, no longer paying attention. His instructor, Rami Varan, still didn't speak. The two men returned to the car, Link started the vehicle, and then continued his patrol. This was the day shift, but they still worked 12 hours and did not return to the police station until 8 o'clock in the evening. However, they were immediately called over by the captain. "Tell us what happened today." The captain went straight to the point. It seemed that the prosecutor had called after all. Link told the story, and then Rami Varan told it again. After listening, the captain felt that there was no problem. Link then added, "When we checked the license plate number, it was at the entrance of the XXX traffic light. The surveillance camera there should have captured it." "I understand. You two can go off work." The captain waved his hand and asked them to leave. Link didn't ask about his performance today. That was the instructor's business. As long as he wasn't expelled tomorrow, there would probably be no problem. There was indeed no problem, and Link was soon converted into a formal police officer. However, he was transferred from his current police station and he needed to report to the West Midtown branch, which was the famous Hell's Kitchen. Link did not complain or appeal, or shout about how unfair it was. Instead, he simply packed up his storage box, packed up his police uniform, and left happily. Hell's Kitchen is a place with many gangs, constant criminal incidents, and gang fights, which is extremely dangerous. Chapter 2 Police Situation. Link is not afraid of the chaos in Hell's Kitchen because he is strong enough. As a time traveler, he has his own golden finger and he possesses a superhuman body. Just 1 year ago, the original owner Link graduated from the police academy and celebrated with his classmates at night. He ended up drinking too much and accidentally fell on the side of the road on his way home. And the same soul named Link took over his body and devoured his soul. From then on, Link became a different person. When he got up from the ground and returned home according to the original owner's memory, it was a 3-story townhouse built in the 1950s. Link is the only one living in the house. The original owner's parents had a car accident a year ago, leaving behind the house and some savings, and later received a huge amount of insurance compensation. Link quickly adapted to his new identity, but then he checked some news and discovered that there was Stark Industries and Tony Stark himself in this world. Now it is clear that as the guiding light of the Marvel Universe, Tony Stark has become the most dazzling beacon here with his high-profile style. This made Link panic a little, and he tossed and turned until the early morning before he fell asleep. When he woke up, the sunlight was shining into the bedroom, making him warm all over, and he was sealed in the bed for a while. Soon his body produced some reactions, and it seemed that his body was constantly getting stronger. This discovery made him a little confused. Without a system, he had to figure everything out on his own. In the following days, Link worked hard to complete his internship while basking in the sun. Fortunately, he was patrolling the streets, so even when he was sitting in the car, the sun could still shine on him. During his rest time, he would bask in the sun in his bedroom. With the emergence of some abilities, such as X-Vision, super hearing, etc., he was sure that he possessed a superhuman body. So, when you go to Hell's Kitchen, you should worry not about yourself, but about those guys. Link has no idea of becoming a superhero. He will not seek trouble for no reason. His idea is to find a chance to get an Infinity Stone, and then fight them to death. After Link reported to the West Midtown police station, he was actually assigned to a separate group. This meant that as a newly promoted police officer, he had to drive his own police car on patrol. The salary of New York police officers is not high. A college graduate like Link can get a starting salary of more than 50,000 yuan, which is an annual salary. However, in the international metropolis of New York, this amount of money is really not much. Of course, there is also high overtime pay, which is also the main source of income. But that's not how it works. Being a police officer in the United States is a high-risk profession. In a country where guns are rampant, you never know who has a gun and who might suddenly pull it out and shoot you. Working under this high pressure, with each shift lasting 12 hours, this high intensity of work pressure makes many people unwilling to be New York police officers. Therefore, police force has always been insufficient, especially in the West Midtown branch. It is difficult to staff the famous Hell's Kitchen in groups of 2. Link's arrival provides just one more person. And it is said that he offended the local prosecutor, so Link was simply assigned to a group of his own since he was a formal police officer anyway. Link didn't care about it. He received a Glock 19 as his police service gun. He also bought a Glock 26 as his personal service gun, which he could carry after get off work. When working, it is usually placed at the ankle and hidden. The first few days of day shifts were fine, but trouble came when I started the night shift. At 8 o'clock in the evening, Link drove the police car out of the police station and headed for his patrol route. Hell's Kitchen at night was very dangerous, and gunshots could be heard faintly. Link kept listening to the radio while driving slowly on the street, looking back and forth. Apart from some vehicles, there was no one on the street, but Link's eyes allowed him to clearly see some people hiding in the darkness. One can tell from their attire that they are some street thugs. When they see the police car, they stay away from it. After the police car passes by, they come out to party again. Attention everyone, a gunfight has occurred in the XXX block. Nearby police officers, please go there immediately. A voice suddenly came from the main reception desk. After hearing it, Link picked up the microphone and announced that he would be there. Then he turned on the police lights and sirens, turned the steering wheel, stepped on the accelerator to the bottom, and rushed out. As they got closer, they heard gunshots from afar. It was very chaotic, so Link turned on his super hearing to determine the situation ahead. This is a fight between the Russian gang and the Irish gang. Both gangs are powerful and there is fierce competition between them in the call girl industry. Especially some high-end customer groups, they pay a lot of money, but they also have high requirements, and even have some special hobbies. This information was naturally not spoken by the 2 warring gangs, but by the patrol officers who were watching the excitement nearby. The moment Link turned on his super hearing, a large number of voices gathered in. The nearby patrol officers did not rush to the scene as quickly as he did. Instead, they turned on their sirens and then drove around in their police cars. The highlight is the creation of a tense atmosphere, but I won't get involved, you can do whatever you want. Link wanted to step on the brakes, but his right foot never left the accelerator and continued to move forward at high speed. He had just arrived and was sent to Hell's Kitchen because he had offended a local prosecutor. The prosecutor is responsible for reviewing the case. The police arrest the suspect, conduct investigations, collect evidence, and complete the chain of evidence before submitting it to the prosecutor. If the prosecutor finds no problem with the case and then files a lawsuit, it can be said that this is strangling the police. Link is a policeman now, he needs a job. Of course, he can also not work. With his superpowers, he will not be short of money. He could become rich overnight by going to Las Vegas, but he would also be easy to be targeted. People always have to find something to do. For them, there will be no lack of wealth, and they don't have to work hard for wealth. So they can find an interesting job. The profession of police, especially the American police, makes him feel very interesting. If he gets tired of it one day, he can resign, but now is the time to enjoy it. Buzz, the accelerator was stepped on to the bottom, the police car roared, and Link quickly arrived at the location of the firefight. There was a restaurant up ahead. A group of people were using a vehicle as cover outside and continuously firing at the people inside. This is a restaurant belonging to a Russian gang. Although the Irish gang has strong firepower, they are just gangsters after all, not soldiers, so they have never rushed in. Link pointed the front of the car at the Irish gang, then pushed the door and got out, pulling out his gun and pointing it forward, NYPD. Chapter 3 Killing God. Is this a rookie? The leader of the Irish gang was surprised to see a police car with only one police officer getting out. Only a rookie would rush over like this in Hell's Kitchen. NYPD, put down your weapons. Link shouted again. Kill him. These gangs don't care about the police. Although it will be troublesome, it's not a big problem. Bang bang. Immediately, several people turned their guns and shot at Link. Link was not in a hurry. He lowered his head and hid behind the car door. The front 2 doors of each police car were equipped with bulletproof steel plates. Calling the main station, there's an exchange of fire, the other side is shooting at me, requesting support. Link reported the situation calmly. Did anyone else want to watch the show? That's impossible. I'm at the scene now, and if the gang opens fire on me, that means they're shooting at the police. You may not support it, but there will be big problems later on, after all, the police are our own people. If you don't support others today, will others support you tomorrow? After Link reported, he turned on his X-Vision and looked forward through the car door. After those gang members fired a few shots at him, they ignored him. What a bold man! Link muttered, then stood up, holding the gun with both hands and fired, bang bang. He fired continuously, the pistol in his hand didn't move at all, as if there was no recoil at all, and the bullets flew towards the target one by one. Puff puff. Heads were hit one after another, and red and white ones scattered together. In an instant, most of the Irish gang members were cleared out and the firepower dropped sharply. The rest of them reacted and turned to look, only to find their companions lying on the ground. Damn it! The leader was dumbfounded, but he was not stupid. Retreat. They want to run, bang. Link heard it clearly and fired another shot instantly, directly killing the leader who gave the order. NYPD, put down your weapons. Link warned again. Multiple warnings are necessary. This is a programming problem, and Link never makes programming errors. The remaining members of the Irish gang were frightened. Some of them dropped their weapons and then raised their hands. The opponent's shooting was too accurate. Who can stand being shot in the head every time? If someone takes the lead, others will naturally not resist. They are familiar with being caught by the police, but they don't need to worry about being shot in the head. They stood up, but they forgot that the Russian gang members were still in the restaurant. The firepower suddenly decreased, and then they saw the guy who attacked them raised his hands and stood up. They were already bloodthirsty and didn't care why. They picked up their weapons and rushed outside, bang bang. Da-day. Various weapons opened fire, wiping out the Irish in an instant, emptying their magazines directly, and without even looking in Link's direction, they replaced the magazines one after another and prepared to go up for more shots. NYPD, put down your weapons. Link shouted again, attracting the other party's attention. They all turned around, and now their guns were pointed at Link, who fired decisively. Bang, bang. This time he controlled the shooting rate and only killed 2 people, giving the others time. As a subconscious reaction, one of them opened fire in Link's direction, and Link saw several bullets flying towards him, none of which could hit him, but some hit the police car. He then continued to pull the trigger, ending all their lives. For a moment, the surroundings were unusually quiet except for the sound of sirens. Link knew that there were almost no living people at this time, only a few seriously injured people lying on the ground groaning. He reported the situation to the main station again, announcing that the situation had been under control and that a large number of ambulances were needed. Then he walked over with a gun in hand. The surrounding patrol teams arrived at the scene one after another. They secretly cursed Link in their hearts, saying that this rookie who had just been promoted to a regular employee really didn't know how to behave. But that's true, this guy just arrived, and he's in a group all his own. No one taught him the rules of Hell's Kitchen. It's not easy to be a policeman here, especially when the salary is so low. Why risk your life? When they got here, they found that the gunfight seemed to be over and the rookie was searching the scene. So everyone got out of the car. Hey, rookie. Link turned around, then gave the other party a smile and said, you guys came just in time. I was just worrying about how to deal with the scene. Link put his gun back into the holster and then untied his duty belt. I shot and killed a lot of people. Who was in charge of the scene? The police officers were all stunned. They rushed forward to check the situation. There were bodies all over the ground, with only a few seriously injured ones left, and they were breathing less and more. Link was sent back to the police station. At this time, the people in the police station looked at him with shocked expressions. There were more than 40 people from the 2 gangs at the scene, and only 3 were alive. The reason why it is temporary is that it depends on the effectiveness of the rescue. It is still uncertain whether the patient can be rescued. Link took the commander on the scene and described in detail what he had done and the number of people he killed, more than 20 people. This is so scary. People from the Ministry of the Interior have arrived, as have the police union and union lawyers. The union and lawyers are on his side, but Link still has to accept inquiries from the Ministry of Internal Affairs. He has no right to remain silent. If he remains silent, he will need to give up his job. Officer Kaylin, can you describe the situation at the scene in detail? Asked the person from the Ministry of Internal Affairs. Link started to describe the specific situation in detail, from the time he received the news from the headquarters to the time he received the call, and he talked all the way to the end. I had already controlled the gunman outside the restaurant, but the people in the restaurant suddenly rushed out and shot at them. Link finally said, I could only warn them again, but there were 8 of them, and each of them pointed a weapon at me. I can only shoot them to death. The man from the Ministry of Internal Affairs asked again, why do you always shoot people in the head? According to regulations, police officers should protect themselves first, and they have the right to shoot suspects when facing threats. Link said, there were more than 40 people at the scene, and there were even more weapons. I was only one person. I fired the first shot to deter the other party and to reduce their threat. The second shooting was more for self-protection. The 19mm caliber pistol bullet used by the Glock 9 has too low power. If it is shot at a larger target's torso, it is difficult to effectively eliminate the threat. The Internal Affairs Department asked again, are you confident in your shooting skills? Yes, I am very confident in my marksmanship, and the scene will not give me too much time to think. I may only have one chance. Link showed great confidence. Chapter 4 Administrative Leave. The Internal Affairs Department did not have many questions, mainly to verify the situation at the scene, and then compare it with the on-site investigation results to see if Link lied. Killing gang members is not a big deal as long as the procedure is legal, and not all the people at the scene were killed by Link. According to Link, he has already controlled the situation outside, but he is alone, so this is not easy. If it were any other time, this matter could be publicized, but not now. Too many people have died, so it's better to keep a low profile. The union and the lawyer asked Link if he needed more help, but Link directly refused, saying there was no problem with his procedures. And this time, he mainly wanted to establish his authority, whether it was in the West Midtown police station or in Hell's Kitchen, to let them know how powerful he was, which would reduce a lot of trouble in the future, and it would be much easier to investigate cases in the future. After being questioned, Link went to the locker room, took off his police uniform and hung it in the locker. He was wearing a white cotton t-shirt that stuck tightly to his body, outlining his muscles. He was wearing dark blue jeans and a pair of brown Martin boots. He is 1.85 meters tall and has a slender figure, but his muscles are not the type that are explosive. He put on an X-shaped underarm holster, placed his service gun Glock 26 in the holster under his right armpit, and had 2 spare magazines on the left. Finally, he put on a brown leather jacket, pinned the police badge on his belt, and took out a helmet from the closet. He doesn't drive, but rides a motorcycle to get off work. Just one policeman. A meeting was being held in the Irish gang's base camp, but their tempers were not very good. Today was supposed to be a successful attack. They were well prepared and caught their opponents off guard. Before taking action, they sent some people to snatch the girl under the control of the other party. The result was a failure, with more than 30 people killed and their own strength dropped significantly. Yes, according to the police we bribed, there is only one Chinese police officer, and he was just promoted to a regular employee. He deserves to die, damn it, I want all his information, and I'm going to kill him within 3 days. Whether it was the Irish who were angry or the Russians who were angry, they were attacked, but the last person killed was a policeman. They now don't know which side to deal with first, but many of their girls have been kidnapped, so they should snatch the girls back first. Those are their cash cows. How can they start work now that they don't have any girls? Link was placed on administrative leave temporarily, but it only lasted for a few days, because the situation at the scene was very clear and there were no suspicious points. The sunlight shone on the bed in the bedroom. Link squinted his eyes slightly, lifted the quilt, and let his whole body bathe in the sunlight. He stretched lazily and felt comfortable all over, but he still got up and prepared to look for a house. Yes, he was planning to sell the house here. After all, he was a time traveler and had no feelings for this house. Moreover, the decoration in the house was a bit old, and he also didn't like this kind of house. The most important thing is that he is the only one living here and needs to take care of it by himself. This house is full of life and has so many things in it that it is not easy for him to deal with or redecorate it. He currently works in Manhattan, which is far away. His home is in Queens, so it would be better to buy a high-rise apartment in Manhattan, with housekeeping services, but the price is definitely not cheap. Now he has hundreds of thousands of dollars in his hand, and he paid a large amount of inheritance tax before, which made him complain for a long time. Go and see the house first, preferably the top floor, so that he can get better sun exposure. This is the key point. No one can stop a Superman from basking in the sun. After getting up and washing up, Link made himself breakfast, then rode his motorcycle straight to Manhattan. He actually wanted to go to Las Vegas, but he was on administrative leave and could not leave New York. He can only go and see the house first, and if it doesn't work, he can take out a loan first. This may be more normal. Then he would go to Las Vegas during the holidays, win a lot of money, and come back to repay the loan. Try not to be too abrupt. Plans cannot always keep up with changes. Just wait and see. It doesn't cost any money to look at houses anyway. The real estate agent he had made an appointment with was already waiting for him at the company. He was very enthusiastic about Link. After all, Link required a penthouse apartment in Manhattan. Without knowing Link's job, the agent had made up a lot of information in his mind. Of course, Link still needs to stay away from the Stark Tower, which is under construction, to avoid future attacks by the Chitauri. Mr. Lin, here are several apartments I have selected for you. The agent was well prepared and displayed information of several apartments that met the requirements, including some photos, maps, surrounding environment, etc. Link was very satisfied. This could save a lot of time, so he began to read it carefully. There are old and new ones, all of which are top-floor apartments. Of course, the prices are not low. The cheapest one costs more than $1 million, and the most expensive ones cost tens of millions. This was the fall of 2006, and tens of millions of US dollars at that time was a lot of money. It was possible that it would appreciate by 2 or 3 times in value in the future, especially after the Chitauri attack. Link mainly looked at the conditions and ignored the price. One of the apartments caught his eye. It was a top-floor apartment with a glass ceiling in the living room. The entire apartment building has 18 floors and 2 elevators. There are 3 households on each floor, and the house types are different. The 3 households on the top floor share a rooftop. The 3 apartment types have different areas and prices. For a single person like Link, he can live in the smallest apartment, which also has 3 bedrooms, 2 living rooms, 3 bathrooms, and a kitchen. The master bedroom also has a dressing room. As for the storage room, this is not included, but it is bound to exist. There is a large living room as soon as you enter the door. The ceiling is made of glass, allowing sunlight to shine in during the day. The apartment has not yet started to be renovated, but it is being sold first, because the decoration will be modified according to the needs of the buyer. The whole apartment is being renovated at the same time, and private decoration will not be allowed. In America, you don't have the final say once you buy an apartment. There are many requirements and regulations. Even after you move in, an owner's committee will be established. If you want to sell the apartment in the future, the buyer will need the approval of the owner's committee, otherwise you will not be able to sell it. It was this glass roof that Link had his eyes on, so he took out the information and asked, "Can I go take a look here? I really like this glass roof. It would be great if I could go up to the rooftop to take a look." Chapter 5: Buying and Selling a House. Of course, no problem. The entire apartment building has just started to be sold, and it has perfect property management and services. The agent immediately said enthusiastically, "Mr. Lin is single, and this smallest apartment is very suitable for you. Also, the apartment has housekeeping services, but the overall decoration style of the apartment has been determined, so the owner can only make adjustments in terms of functionality. For example, the 3 houses can be used as bedrooms or as studies. Can you accept this?" "No problem." Link nodded and said, "I don't have any artistic talent, so I prefer to trust the designer. As long as the quality is good, that's fine." "Of course, you can rest assured about this." The agent immediately stood up and asked, "Shall we leave now?" "Did you drive?" "Mine is a motorcycle, let's meet at the apartment." Link said, "If you are satisfied, I won't look at anything else. I will just make an appointment with my lawyer and we can sign the contract at the agreed time. But I want to know the payment method. After all, the house I live in now needs to be sold. Can I pay the deposit first?" "Of course, we have multiple payment methods and can also arrange loans for you." The broker didn't care about the payment method at all. As long as Link signed the contract, he could get the commission. Link arrived first on a motorcycle, while the agent drove himself, so Link arrived first. This apartment is located southeast of Central Park and has an extremely advantageous geographical location. If Link buys the penthouse apartment, he can overlook Central Park from home. The land around Central apartments has always been in short supply, and buying one would be a fortune. The smallest apartment that Link liked is over 220 square meters in size and is priced at $2.4 million. It has luxurious decoration and is fully furnished with furniture and soft furnishings. This is equivalent to a price of more than $10,000 per square meter. It was definitely not cheap in that era, but Link felt it was not bad. Considering the cash and the money from the sale of his own house, the money was almost enough. In this way, he doesn't need to win too much when he goes to Las Vegas, a few $100,000 will be enough, and the purchasing power of the US dollar is very strong. However, Link still carefully turned on his X-ray vision and looked the entire apartment from top to bottom. Only then was he sure that there was no problem with the quality. This place is really nice. I don't think I need to look anywhere else. Link said to the real estate agent. This is a wise decision. If you look at it too much, you will hesitate too much. The agent was happy at this time and praised Link. By the way, how are you going to pay? Pay the deposit, and then I'll start selling the current house, Link said. The agent naturally didn't want to miss this opportunity, so he immediately asked, "Can I ask where you live now?" "Of course, I live on XXX Street in Queens, which is a middle-class community. The 3-story townhouse was built in the 1950s and should be worth more than $1 million. Link introduced the situation. "It was left by my parents. So that's where it is." As expected of a real estate agent, he immediately knew the exact location. "Mr. Lin, you are really lucky. This development company is buying the house there." "Hey!" Link was stunned. A development company acquires a property. Yes, they not only develop properties, but also rent them out, the other party introduced. They have quite a few properties in your neighborhood. This kind of acquisition has always happened, but they also select locations. For example, where you are, the buildings are generally from the 1940s and 1950s, and the geographical location and surrounding environment are good, then they will acquire it. Usually they can rent it out, and when they acquire a certain number of properties, they will develop it. Link suddenly realized that land in New York, especially in Manhattan, was hard to come by and the competition was very fierce. A single real estate development company cannot survive by relying solely on selling houses. Every project must be refined to maximize benefits. In addition, other income is needed to keep the company running. "So what's the price?" Link asked. "Isn't their purchase price too high?" "No, the price is usually the market price, or even a little more. After all, they make money by renting it out, and for the sake of future benefits." The real estate agent said, "And now it's very convenient for you, you can stay here until the construction is completed." "Okay, then let's talk to them, but you won't earn any commission?" Link asked. How can such a real estate agent not earn a commission? Lin Xinchen, our real estate agency also belongs to this development company. The agent cleared up Link's doubts. It seems that he still doesn't understand much about business matters, but it doesn't matter. Since it is convenient for him, he doesn't need to hesitate. Sure, as long as the price is right. Link agreed immediately. The next thing is simple. The other party offered $1.8 million for Link's current house. This price is not low, but Link owns the land property rights, and it is this property right that the development company values. Of course, this apartment was originally purchased for just over $10,000 in the 1950s, and was purchased by the original owner's grandfather. Link agreed immediately, and the transaction went very smoothly. Link could continue to live there without paying rent. Link then signed a contract to purchase the top floor apartment and then communicated with the design team of Open Company. The overall style is fixed, and Link doesn't bother with the style issue. He has adjusted the functions of some rooms. One of the public restrooms was converted into a laundry room. With just this minor adjustment, he didn't need so many restrooms. Link was not a Native American, and he didn't like to hold parties at home. He would rather spend money to go out and hold it if necessary. Link himself is a homebody, and his reason is not bad, basking in the sun. The only problem now is that Link has no money. Of course, it may be enough to live on, but after moving into the apartment, he cannot afford the annual property management fee alone. But there is no rush now. He used the remaining rest time to start sorting out things at home. The furniture does not need to be moved, as it has been purchased by the development company so that they can rent it out directly, with only some simple repairs required. After all, the long-term goal here is to develop new real estate projects, and decoration is a huge waste. Chapter 6 Paid Vacation. He sorted out things at home and donated his parents' clothes. He also donated some of his own clothes. He now wears police uniform most of the time. He usually wears jeans, leather jackets, and t-shirts. Because of his strong body, the New York winter has no effect on him, and it also fits the dressing habits of people here. Link is reducing the burden of moving, so he won't move electrical appliances or even kitchen utensils. What he sorted out the most were photos. He would not throw these away. After all, they occupied everything of the original owner, so he would always leave traces of his existence for their family, and at the same time, it would also help him find a sense of existence. He carefully sorted out these photos and bought a lot of photo albums to put them in. When he moves to his new home, he can use some photo frames to decorate his home. When he has children in the future, he will also want to give them a place to go. This is something that is deeply rooted in the Chinese people. Especially since Link came here halfway. There isn't much left. Most of the original owner's childhood things have to be thrown away or donated. In the end, he kept the tableware and tea sets. These were carefully matched by the original owner's mother, so he was reluctant to throw them away. They were very exquisite. Link, you need to come to the bureau. The captain called Link. Link was very surprised. He was not told to go back to work but to go to the police station. Was there any change in this matter? Riding on his motorcycle, he came to the West Central City branch and found that the government affairs, unions, and lawyers were all there. Link asked curiously, "Is it that the on-site investigation results are inconsistent with what I said?" "No." The captain asked him to sit down. "Your case has been thoroughly investigated. There is no problem. You should have resumed work today." "But..." The captain looked at him and then said, "The Irish gang sent a message to deal with you. This is a provocation to us." Link suddenly realized what was going on. "I'm not afraid of them. Besides, I'm in a group by myself and won't cause any trouble for my colleagues. Let them come to me." "No, Link, this is not just about one person." The person from the Internal Affairs Department stood up and said, "This is a provocation to the entire New York police force. We will never allow this to happen." "Yes." The union member also spoke up. "Morale is already low. If something happens to you again, the morale of the entire New York police force will be gone." There is some sarcasm in his words, but no one here is responsible for the salary issue, so there is no point in his being sarcastic. The lawyer said, "You have the right to apply for protection." The captain added, "The general administration's opinion is to give you a paid vacation. You should know that many people in our branch haven't had a vacation in several years. After you take this vacation, it will be difficult for you to have another chance in the future." "Well, the staff shortage is so severe." Link laughed and said, "Well, I'm willing to take a vacation. I just happen to want to go to Las Vegas, which I've never been to. Besides, I don't need protection. But if they want to retaliate against me, why haven't they done anything yet?" The captain explained, "The Russian gang went to war with them because a group of their girls were robbed by the other side. On the night of the gunfight, they disguised themselves as players and called to lure the girls out. The fighting between the two sides is very intense now. Let me tell you a secret. We are preparing to take action against the Irish. A large number of police officers will be temporarily seconded here at that time to let them know who is in charge in New York." Link nodded to show that he understood. He left the police station and took a half-month paid vacation. He didn't lose anything anyway, but these guys still didn't know how powerful they were. He would deal with them later. When he got home, he laughed again as he looked at the things he had sorted out, and said exaggeratedly, "Is my superpower luck?" He simply searched for casino hotels in Las Vegas, found the most luxurious one, and booked a mid-range room, which was suitable for his status and job. He immediately booked a flight for the afternoon and set off with a travel bag. We arrived in Las Vegas at night and took a taxi from the airport. Along the way, we saw the dazzling neon lights of the city. Now the day's life here has just begun. When he checked into the hotel, he actually didn't have much money left. He had been waiting for his salary to be paid, but now he couldn't even afford the room rent. However, it didn't matter at all because he had a few $100s in cash. Link doesn't use a credit card, although he has one, which belonged to the original owner, but he tries not to use it now. There are too many credit card traps, loan traps, etc. in the bank. He likes to save money, so what if the interest rate is low? Sure, maybe he could buy some stocks and leave them alone, but he didn't have the money right now. I went to a restaurant and had a luxurious meal. There was everything to eat, drink and have fun, so I just put it on the bill. Link then went straight to the casino and exchanged $300 in chips, each chip was $10. Afterwards, he strolled around here. He wanted to see what he should play. After all, he couldn't attract too much attention. Of course, he must win more. It's not easy to come here once, but you also have to do some covering up and become a lucky person. After walking around, he came to the gambling table. This was very simple and there were many people gathered there, so he could make some money first. After checking with his X-ray vision, he found that the casino did not have any traps, so he started playing with confidence. Bet big and bet down. This is very simple. Before each opening, the probability is 50 to 50. He puts 5 chips on it every time. He loses less and wins more. Soon he has accumulated several $1,000s. He asked the dealer to change the chips, each chip was $100, so the chips became only dozens. He just grabbed the card and walked away. He wanted to try another way to play. Blackjack would be a good choice. The original owner studied psychology in college. After graduation, he did not become a psychologist, but a policeman. Psychology is also useful for the police profession. It was assigned to the general administration, which is very telling, but Link doesn't care much about this. Moreover, if he had let the prosecutor go that day, his instructor would have reason to expel him. It is hard to say what the details of the incident would have been. Having arrived late today, Link didn't play for long, but he already had more than $20,000 in chips, which he deposited directly in the casino, and went back to rest empty-handed. He enjoyed the high-end bathtub here and then fell asleep early. He was going to have a good time starting tomorrow. The next morning, after breakfast, Link rented a car and driver from the hotel to take him around Las Vegas. Actually, there were not many things to see. Most of them were hotels. This was a city built in the desert. We returned to the hotel at noon, ordered a big meal, and went to the swimming pool to spend the afternoon. Chapter 7 Gambling. Wearing swimming trunks, his muscles attracted the attention of many beautiful women, including many wealthy women. Many of them came up to say hello, but Link rejected them all. He doesn't like the women here very much. Everyone knows what kind of people they are. Link doesn't want to clean sewers for others. Swimming was secondary, he was just enjoying the sunshine. The Las Vegas sun was so great that it made him feel like his body was alive. It was not until dinner time that he went back to his room to take a shower, and then after enjoying a sumptuous dinner, he headed straight to the casino. As his funds accumulated, he did not stay in the casino all the time. There were large-scale singing and dancing performances in the hotel every night. When Link's funds reached $100,000, he stopped and went to watch the performances. Anyway, he has half a month of vacation, so he can take it slow. Although he didn't win much money, he still attracted the attention of the casino. Special personnel analyzed him and found that he liked to observe other people's expressions when playing blackjack. The casino quickly retrieved his information. Each of the shareholders here was very powerful, and Link's information was quickly found. A bachelor's degree in psychology is actually equivalent to graduating from college and then becoming a policeman. After graduating from college, he joined the New York Police Department, performed well during the internship, and after being converted to a full-time employee, he did a big thing. This is a killing god. He came to Las Vegas because the New York Police Department wanted to protect him. Therefore, they temporarily listed Link as the target for observation. There was no sign of cheating on his part. It was more of a psychological effect. He was used to observing other people's expressions to judge their cards. Link didn't know this, and even if he did, he wouldn't care. After all, no one could discover his superpowers. The singing and dancing performances are very exciting, and the programs are changed regularly, so you will never get bored. But everything here smells like money. Link went to the swimming pool to sunbathe during the day, and went to the casino to win some money at night, and then looked for shows to watch. There were also some famous talk shows here, and Link watched a few of them. The casino has also been keeping an eye on him. This guy is here on vacation and has good psychology. At this time, Link has changed the way he plays and started playing Texas Hold'em. Blackjack still requires a lot of luck, while Texas Hold'em is more of a game of gambling. Link felt very good. He applied the original owner's psychology here these days. Superman already had a super brain, but he just didn't use it. But Link knows how to use it. Psychology is so useful, so he naturally doesn't want to give it up. It is very helpful to him and can even explain many problems. Here he began to kill people everywhere. He had an excuse, and a good one at that. His psychology was integrated a lot and played a big role. X-Sight was more like a trump card. In this way, he actually won $5 million. The casino finally took action. Of course, it was not to ask him to leave, but to invite him to participate in a bigger game. The casino organizes some big customers, or the big customers themselves request to organize the card games. Link became interested as soon as he heard it and gladly accepted the invitation. The time was set for tomorrow night starting at 8 o'clock and ending at midnight, a total of 4 hours. After dinner the next day, Link was invited to the VIP box at 7:30 in the evening, but he was the only one there. He did not complain about this, as it was in line with his current status. He did not just sit there waiting, but became interested in the high-end drinks and cigars prepared here. He asked the bunny girl next to him in detail. This is a top-grade Cuban cigar. Of course, it is not the most expensive, but the hotel has also invested a lot of money. There are dozens of high-end drinks here. Link asked in detail, how to roast the tobacco to stimulate the aroma, take a puff in the mouth to taste it, and then spit it out without passing through the lungs. Of course, some people would get through the lungs, but such people were very rare, and the ingredients in it had no effect on Link, so he just needed the scent. Then choose a wine to pair with it and see which flavor suits you best. Link unexpectedly likes a plum-flavored bourbon the most. This is a type of whiskey with different prices. Link remembered the brand, then took a bottle and went to enjoy it on the sofa nearby. It's free anyway, and he can't get drunk. Even Captain America can't get drunk, let alone him. Time passed slowly, and Link did not seem bored, until 7:50, when the door of the box opened again. The rest of the people came in one after another, and the one in front was Tony Stark, who was arguing with someone. Hammer, you are bound to lose today. The person who was arguing with him was Justin Hammer, the chairman of Hammer Group. Following behind them were two white people, a man and a woman. The man was extremely tall and strong, over 1.9 meters tall, holding a cane in his hand, and had a bald head. The woman looked quite old, at least in her 50s or 60s, but her temperament was outstanding. Several people sat down. The man and woman sat on the left side of the stage, while Hammer and Stark sat on the right side, leaving the middle seat. Hey, where's the last person? Stark asked impatiently, you said you found a master. Mr. Stark, Mr. Lin has been here for a long time. The manager stretched out his hand, and then Stark saw Link, who was holding a bottle of bourbon in a glass and a half-smoked cigar in his mouth. Cigars burn very slowly, and as you savor the aroma, you naturally smoke them slowly. Link walked over and someone bunny girl put the ashtray in front of him, and Link sat down in the middle. He said, Mr. Tony Stark, Mr. Justin Hammer, I don't know these two, but I can tell from their temperament that they are quite wealthy. I am the poorest here. $5 million is a small amount for them, which is not fair. The manager smiled and said, let me introduce you to Mr. K. Lin. He won $5 million with $300 in a few days. He is an expert in psychology. Mr. Lin, let me introduce the other two. This is Mr. Wilson Fisk and Mrs. Alexandra Reed. This game will last 4 hours, and each player has 5 million chips. Are you ready to start? Stark nodded and said, let's get started. Since there is an expert here, let me see how good he is. Stark is a man with a strong desire to win. Link didn't say anything else. He knew that the casino was bullying him because he was alone and weak, but it also gave him a chance. However, he was surprised that Wilson Fisk was here. This was the future kingpin, and he recalled that the woman should be the boss with the hand and 5 fingers. This woman has lived for who knows how many years. She is an old freak. My psychology may not work here. Chapter 8 Psychology and Micro-Expressions. What Link didn't know was that Wilson and Alexandra were here for a big reason. Because his actions in Hell's Kitchen had made them see an opportunity. Originally they were interested in cooperating, but it was only a preliminary contact. However, when the opportunity arose, they naturally did not want to let it go, so they quickened their pace. Since it wasn't feasible to talk in New York, they came to Las Vegas and met secretly. As for Tony Stark and Justin Hammer, they were rivals to begin with. They had a head-on confrontation at a cocktail party in New York, and then it ended here. It is not easy to set up a card game, especially since Stark wants a master, so Link appears here. Link tried psychology again and deliberately lost the first few games to observe the four people. Hammer is just a fool, and it is easy to find out what he is thinking, and Stark's desire to win is too strong, which is also not difficult to observe. As for Wilson, it is more difficult because he is involved in both the black and white worlds. However, he also has flaws because he is absent-minded. But Alexandra is more difficult. This is an old monster who has lived for hundreds of years, and it is not easy for him to reveal his inner thoughts. Stark was unhappy at this time. He looked at Link and asked, "Are you really a master? And not a drunkard? Winning first doesn't count as winning." Link smiled and poured himself another glass of bourbon. He had drunk half of the bottle, but he was not drunk at all. "I'm going to start exerting my strength next. Mr. Stark, you better be ready." Alexandra on the side suddenly spoke up, "This Mr. Lin has been observing all of us. Is Mr. Lin proficient in psychology?" Link did not hide it and said, "Yes, I studied psychology in college, and now I am a police officer working at the West Midtown branch. I came here on vacation this time. I didn't expect to meet you all at the poker table. I have some impression of Mr. Wilson, but I have no impression of Mrs. Alexandra at all. I'm usually in London," Alexandra said. "It seems I have to be careful now." Mr. Lin has completed his observations. Stark became interested and immediately urged the cards to be dealt. Sure enough, Link started to win. The more than 1 million that he had lost before was quickly won back, and then he started to reap the benefits from the four of them. Only then did the four of them show their seriousness. Money was a small matter, but losing was embarrassing. Alexandra, in particular, thought she had not revealed any flaws and wondered if the other party had really seen through her. Link discovered a flaw in Alexandra at this time. The opponent was very vigilant. Link couldn't see through her before, but he was cheating, so he naturally killed everyone. And now the opponent has revealed a flaw. The calmer this old guy was before, the more uncalm he is now after losing. Winning or losing is secondary. The key point is that she thinks Link sees through her, which is not a good thing for her. Wilson became interested. This young policeman actually had such advanced attainments in psychology. He was a talent. Before midnight, the four of them had already lost everything. Stark asked curiously, "Lin, do you really see through us?" Link said, "Mr. Hammer is the easiest to see through." Justin Hammer's face darkened, while Stark burst into laughter. And Link continued, "Mr. Stark's desire to win is too strong. You don't care about money, but you care about winning or losing." Stark nodded slightly. Acknowledging this, Link turned to look at Wilson Fisk. "Mr. Wilson is absent-minded. He is thinking about something else." Wilson said, "Indeed, Mr. Lin saw this very accurately. The only one I didn't see through was Ms. Alexandra. She is the most calm one, calmer than you three gentlemen." Link commented on the last person. Alexandra asked curiously, "So I lost in the end?" Micro-expressions. "I not only know psychology, but I also know how to observe micro-expressions. Human facial expressions are generally difficult to control." Link said, "Especially the eyes. No matter what I see, I will subconsciously react to it in my eyes at the first time. Then there are the facial muscles, especially the corners of the mouth, nose, and ears. Unless you have undergone rigorous training, you can basically see something." And Ms. Alexandra was obviously used to being in control, and in the end, there were cracks in your heart, with doubts. This is a psychological trap. Everyone knows I know psychology, but they don't know I can observe micro-expressions. Excellent. Wilson Fisk praised, "It was worth the trip today. I got to meet a master." Alexandra breathed a sigh of relief and asked with a smile, "So we can't beat Mr. Lin?" "No, it's easy to beat me. Just throw money at me, and then it all depends on luck to see who has better luck." Link said. "Indeed, if he does this, there is a high probability that he will not win. After all, there are 5 people. Of course, he can choose not to follow suit, but wait until he has the biggest hand before going all out. But this reveals a flaw, and people may not follow you then. The game ended early, no one was too excited to win, everyone was not an ordinary person, and Link also showed his ability and found a source of funds. He asked the hotel to issue him a certificate to prove the source of his funds. During the following holidays, Link no longer went to the casino. Instead, he sunbathed, ate big meals, watched shows, and fully enjoyed his vacation. At the same time, the casino also publicized this card game, allowing people to know about Link, such a master. The casino did not take any commission this time. After all, they had bullied Link before. Link was indeed so powerful, and they did not want to offend him. But what if Link became a big winner in the casino? The casino did not send out its own experts, for fear of losing, which would be embarrassing. With 3 days left before the end of the holiday, Link packed his luggage, booked a plane ticket, and prepared to go straight home. After all, just playing is tiring, and the hotel waived all his expenses, but hoped that Link could be present when there was a big game. Link naturally did not refuse. This was a gift of money to him, so he readily agreed. But he won't come if the money is too small. He needs to have a minimum of 5 million, otherwise it's not worth his trip. After returning to his long-lost home, Link was about to start cleaning, but the doorbell suddenly rang. Link was very puzzled. He had been away for more than 10 days, so how come someone came to his door as soon as he came back? Could it be a gunman from the Irish gang? Chapter 9 Recruitment of SHIELD. Link took out his Glock 26, walked to the door, turned on the X-ray and looked outside. He saw a middle-aged white man in a suit and tie. He looked a bit honest and had a very receding hairline. Seeing the outfit like that, Link had guessed what she had gotten. But he was wondering if he had revealed any flaws somewhere. His super thinking did not find any flaws. He held the gun in his right hand behind his back, then walked to the door and opened it. "Who are you?" Link asked with a puzzled look. Phil Coulson looked at Link's hands behind his back, so he smiled and said, "I have something I want to discuss with Mr. Lin. Can I have my ID?" "Okay, but don't move too fast." Link looked cautious. Although he didn't show his gun, the two of them understood each other tacitly. Coulson slowly used 2 fingers to pull out his ID from the inside pocket of his suit, then opened it to show Link. With a puzzled look, Link asked, "What kind of organization is this?" The full name is Strategic Homeland Defense Attack and Logistics Agency, and the abbreviation is SHIELD. Everyone in SHIELD knows this abbreviation, but they usually use the full name to the outside world. "Can we talk now?" Coulson said, "If you don't believe me, I can show you credentials from the FBI, CIA, or other agencies." Link raised his eyebrows, with a hint of doubt, and said, "Okay, come in." He made room for the door, but kept using it to block his body, looking alert. After Coulson came in, he looked around the environment and said, "Mr. Lin, your new apartment is indeed much better than this one." Link didn't say anything. After closing the door, he pointed his gun at Coulson. "The living room is on the left. We can talk there, but there's nothing to entertain you right now." "It doesn't matter." Coulson went straight into the living room on the left and sat down on the sofa. Link also came in, but he avoided the window and sat down diagonally opposite Coulson. Coulson looked satisfied and said, "Mr. Lin, we noticed you and want to recruit you." "Notice me?" Link was stunned, then asked, "What is there about me that is worthy of your attention? Besides, I know nothing about you guys, and you just come to recruit me like this." Of course, noticing you was a surprise, but your outstanding application of psychology and micro-expressions, as well as your actual performance in the police academy and Hell's Kitchen, are all things worthy of our attention. Coulson's words made Link breathe a sigh of relief. But he still asked, "You should be the intelligence department, right? We don't belong to the United States. We are a global intelligence agency under the management of the World Security Council," Coulson said. "We are responsible for many mysterious events that are unknown to the public. To put it bluntly, we are responsible for the security of the Earth. I can't say much about this. Our headquarters is in DC. If you're willing to join, I can take you on a tour. It's not a hidden building. I suppose you know the Trident building." Link looked as if he had suddenly realized something. He said, "I wasn't quite sure before." You're not allowed to get close to that place, but the building is really obvious enough. I always thought it was some kind of scientific research institution. That's our headquarters, but I hope you can keep it a secret, even if you don't join us. Carlson then said with a smile, of course, now that you are a multimillionaire, work is not so important to you. Link was silent at this time. He did not have a definite answer in his heart whether to join SHIELD. I don't want to be a superhero, so I plan to hide myself. But I can't be completely ignorant of the news. My goal is an infinity stone. Although I know the plot, what about time? The things in the movie can only be used as a reference, and there are many parallel worlds in the Marvel universe, so I am not sure which universe I am in yet. He doesn't know much about this, so joining S.H.I.E.L.D. as an ordinary agent is a good choice. Carlson was also expecting the other party to agree at this time, because the director was optimistic about Link. Nick Fury had always wanted to improve the combat capability of the Earth. After seeing the Kree fleet, he was committed to forming an Avengers alliance. His biggest trump card is Captain Marvel, but this woman has been wandering around in the universe and only gave him a pager. Nick Fury now has Hawkeye and Black Widow recruited by Hawkeye under his command. Their combat effectiveness is considered good, but it is still far behind the alien fleet. However, it is also good to have a team of special agents with excellent combat effectiveness. There was originally a knight named Melinda May, but since the last mission, May's condition has not been very good, and she applied to be transferred to clerical work. Carlson is one of the people he trusts the most, but his fighting ability is average, but his leadership ability is outstanding enough. The reason they noticed Link was because they had been paying attention to Tony Stark, whose father Howard Stark was one of the founders of SHIELD. He is a genius himself and the person on Earth who has the greatest hope of developing powerful weapons to fight aliens. As a result, Link was discovered in this gambling game. His fighting ability is not clear at the moment, but his shooting skills are really accurate. It's not target shooting, but every shot in actual combat is a headshot, which is the most rare thing. Coupled with his excellent application of psychology and micro-expressions, he is a good agent material. If he can be recruited, it will be very helpful in forming a strong agent team. Link asked tentatively, are you really a global organization? That's right, you can't fool anyone about this. Carlson was happy, and the other party was obviously interested. Okay, I'm willing to join, but my current job? Link asked. Don't worry about that, we will transfer all your files. The two parties do not belong to the same group, but SHIELD is very powerful and can directly transfer Link away without any problem. Anyway, Link isn't an important figure in the police department, and he's still a problem. So what should I do next? Link asked again. This is a confidential phone. Keep it with you. I will contact you after I complete your formalities. Carlson stood up and said, I will take you to visit the headquarters then. You have received police training and have also done a year of internship, so you will not be assigned to study at the Secret Service Academy. You will start working directly. Carlson added, you will learn some Secret Service skills and equipment on the job. Chapter 10 Assessment. After seeing Carlson off, Link cleaned the room, made himself some coffee, and began to think about everything that had happened since his time traveling through time. His super brain worked well and there were no mistakes. In fact, as long as he doesn't show obvious superpowers, such as X-rays and super hearing, there will be no problem at all. And others will not be able to detect them at all. So he calmed down, made a phone call to inquire about the progress of the new apartment, and then went to bed early. After waiting for several days, Carlson finally called and asked him to go to a building in New York. Link quickly arrived at the location on a motorcycle. After Carlson took him in, he discovered that this was the New York branch of SHIELD. Recall that this is where Captain America was thought and then ran to Times Square. After the tour, Carlson handed Link a certificate. Link opened it and took a look, and Carlson taught him the tricks on the certificate. That is the certificate of SHIELD, which can be transformed into that of other departments, and the information is all true. Link was greatly shocked. S.H.I.E.L.D's technology is indeed extraordinary. The power he had was huge enough that Link found it very interesting. It was so new to him and much more interesting than being in the police station. Lin, can I call you that? Carlson asked. Of course. Link nodded in agreement. Our idea is that your cover identity is a professional gambler. Carlson said, you happened to win more than $20 million in Las Vegas. After you came back, you quit your job as a police officer and became a professional gambler. Your task is to participate in various high-end poker games and to gather some intelligence. Link didn't expect that S.H.I.E.L.D. would let him do this. He asked, "Aren't you responsible for global security? Why are you still asking about ordinary people's news?" Coulson smiled and said, "You don't understand our operations yet, and of course you don't understand the whole picture of this world. Your task for the next few days is to read the information here. After all, to get the news, you need to know some more details. For this reason, your director has specially approved you to become a level 084 agent. You will enjoy level authority and can read some information about 084. Link concealed it very well. This code was the code for mysterious items, most of which were from aliens. You'll know after you read it. Coulson prepared an office for Link so that he could read the documents exclusively, and Link did read them carefully. And the browsing speed is very fast. Of course, this speed is relative. After all, computers have operation records. If it were faster, it would be suspicious. Coulson, how about this Lin? Nick Fury made a remote video call with Coulson. Not bad. He has a strong learning ability and accepted the mission. Coulson said, but we don't know how good his actual combat ability is yet. At the shooting range, he scored 10 points on both the fixed and moving targets. Well, at least he's good at shooting. When Natasha comes back, I'll let her go to the New York branch, and she'll test Lin's fighting ability. Nick Fury said, if he passes, his fighting ability should not be underestimated. If the Avengers plan is launched in the future, he can be counted as one of them. Yes, I understand. Phil Coulson is a level 7 agent, higher than Hawkeye and Black Widow, because of his outstanding leadership and execution abilities. The two cut off the communication, and Coulson went to check on Link's situation and found that he was learning really fast. It seems that Chinese people are good at learning. Just after Link had studied for a few days, Coulson called him to the combat training room. And Link saw a beautiful woman wearing a SHIELD combat uniform. Let me introduce you. This is Agent Natasha Romanoff. Like you, she is a level 6 agent and is also responsible for obtaining intelligence. Coulson introduced her and then said, she is also good at fighting. She will be responsible for testing you today. When Link heard it, he realized it was indeed the Black Widow. If it was the Black Widow in the movie, she should have been born in 1984. If it was the Black Widow in the comics, she would be an old grandmother in her 60s. Link thought in his mind, but his actions were not slow. He took off the suit jacket issued by S.H.I.E.L.D., tucked his tie into his shirt, unbuttoned his cuffs, and rolled up his shirt sleeves. Then he came in front of Black Widow and said, Agent Romanoff, shall we begin? As soon as he finished speaking, the woman opposite moved instantly, jumping up and trying to give him a scissor kick, but Link also moved, leaning forward, lowering his body, and directly resisting the other person's waist and pushing her out. Black Widow was very flexible. She adjusted her posture in the air and rolled on the ground to release the force. However, she knew that Link was holding back, and with his quick reactions, quick movements, and the ability to hold back, he was clearly a formidable opponent. So, she got serious, but this time Link took the initiative to approach her, and the two started fighting, with Link always maintaining an evenly matched level. The two sides used various fighting techniques and fought each other for several minutes, but Link's physical strength was better, while Black Widow was already sweating. Coulson stopped immediately after seeing this and said, okay, you two, Lin has passed the test. Black Widow breathed a sigh of relief, but she still said, he's better than me. I'm a man and I have the advantage of physical strength. If it's a life and death fight, I don't have enough experience. Link was speaking the truth. It was true that he lacked experience, but there was no way that Black Widow could be his sparring partner. In his eyes, the other party was too slow. Link could only continue to learn various fighting skills on his own, and practice these skills until they became a part of his body. In this way, the assessment of Link's combat effectiveness was basically completed, and Nick Fury was very satisfied. This was equivalent to him having an extra Hawkeye or Black Widow, plus his attainments in psychology, so he would have no problem carrying out the mission alone. Lin, you have learned enough and can start your mission. A month later, Coulson came to Link and said, your apartment is finished, move in as soon as possible. And buy yourself a nice car. Link asked, Coulson, I'll pay for the car myself. Of course, you are a rich man, and you have to prepare your own gambling money, but you don't have to hand it over after you win. A nice guy is not necessarily a good person. Link rolled his eyes and asked, does this count as paying to work? Not really. The bureau provides you with salary, benefits, and treatment, and you earn money during working hours. We know your skills. Carlson said, okay, we will arrange the first gambling game for you. Chapter 11 Professional Gambler. Link moved, the original house was handed over to the development company, and he moved into a new apartment. The two neighbors next door haven't moved in yet. And it seems they are not in a hurry. Link moved the luggage in and placed them all in the proper places, only then did he realize that he really didn't have enough things. Especially the wardrobe, which consisted of jeans, jackets, t-shirts, and the only two suits were SHIELD work uniforms. When he was about to go shopping, Carlson came to his door. After coming in, he actually took Link to the cloakroom of the master bedroom. It was unknown when a small secret arsenal was built here. Lin, you can put some things here. There are 3 security measures here, password, fingerprint, and iris. Carlson said. It's really amazing. When was it done? Link was very curious. At night, there is no construction here, so we finished it in one night. Carlson said with a smile, there is time to go to the branch to get some weapons. Safety is still the most important thing. We secretly replaced the door here. It is bulletproof and explosion-proof. Okay, I understand. Link prepared to use X-ray vision to observe his new home again. After sending Carlson away, he set up 3 layers of insurance and put some cash here, so he didn't have to buy a safe himself. The cloakroom was clearly divided into areas, and Link took a look and prepared to do some big shopping. Such as handmade high-end suits, leather shoes, brand-name shirts, ties, cufflinks with various diamonds, gemstones, and jewels, as well as expensive watches, etc. After all, if you want to be a professional gambler, your outfit must not be embarrassing and must be consistent with your identity as a participant in the game. At the same time, the wine cabinet at home should have a variety of famous wines. Of course, the quantity does not need to be too much. If necessary, you can hold a card game at home, but it is basically impossible. Another thing is to buy some cigars. Suppliers of this can be found in the Shield database, which is very large. But now he needs a car. When Link was choosing a car, he didn't look at those supercars, but bought a black 5th-generation Mustang Shelby GT500. He considered that he could not just become rich overnight and pursue super sports cars once he had money, but instead he bought a muscle car based on his personal preferences. Link was particularly happy with the manual transmission design. He did not pursue fancy paint, but chose pure black with a silver Cobra logo on it. Link trained his driving skills for a few days at Shield and received praise from his coach, who said he had the absolute ability to operate this car. With the car, Link started to make big purchases, going to various international brand stores to buy what he needed and having custom-made handmade suits. His body was in perfect shape and the tailor was full of praise for it. After a big shopping spree, his closet was half full, which he felt was good enough since he wouldn't be able to wear any more. When the news of the first game of cards came out, Link dressed himself up and drove there happily. Soon, Link became a little famous in New York's upper circles, and his card-playing skills were praised by many people. However, the circle that Link can fit into is not very large. Of course, this is still relative to the whole of New York. This is an international metropolis and one of the 3 major financial centers. There are too many wealthy people here. There is the circle of friends, where friends organize poker games, which Link still cannot enter. There is also the circle of peers, where these people are from the same industry, and they usually get together to talk more about things in the industry. There is also a circle of relationships, which is for the purpose of this interest chain, and even someone like Link cannot enter. He can enter the money circle and the technical circle. Some people organize card games for money, most of whom are gamblers, while the technical circle is about finding experts and pursuing victory or defeat. These 2 circles are most suitable for Link to get information. Gamblers should not even think about having any character, as they are addicted to gambling. Of course, these people also have other abilities to make money, otherwise they can't afford to play big. The technical circle is a group of elites who have great self-control, but they pursue victory here because of their hobbies. Link reported his recent gains to Carlson, who said, "Not bad, you already have the ability to collect basic intelligence, and you may be able to expand your scope in the future. Like the big poker games in Las Vegas, haven't they contacted you recently? No. Link shook his head. Based on what I know, they don't need to look for me very often. Of course, if necessary, I can participate in some international competitions. Not yet. People who participate in the competition generally don't have the information we need. Carlson said confidently. He probably has done some research. Then he joked, you've made a lot of money recently. Haha, do you want me to treat you? Link asked with a smile. No, but I need you to pay attention to the situation in Hell's Kitchen now. Carlson said, Wilson Fisk, whom you met in Las Vegas last time, has formed a joint construction company with others to develop Hell's Kitchen. He was born there, and his father was once a member of a gang, but he disappeared later and was suspected to have died in a gang feud. When Wilson Fisk grew up, he left there, and then he started a gang and started a legitimate business, mixing both the black and white worlds. However, he has now returned with great force and has conquered all the gangs in Hell's Kitchen. This is very strange. He should not have the strength to do this. We only know that he is working with someone, but we don't know who he is working with. We only know that a large part of the funds came from the island country. You'd better get some information on this. Link nodded slightly and asked, do you know his recent schedule? I know one thing. He often goes to a gallery recently. You can try to go there and see if you can meet him. Carlson did not give a specific itinerary. This man is now the big boss of Hell's Kitchen, and his schedule is not fixed. Wilson Fisk has become kingpin by now, right? Last time in Las Vegas, he was probably negotiating cooperation with the Hand. Later, with the help of the Hand, he conquered gangs of all sizes in Hell's Kitchen. At the same time, with the help of the name of United Construction Company, it acquired the property rights of Hell's Kitchen. Its plan looks big, and it is to carry out a large-scale renovation of Hell's Kitchen. The purpose of the Hand and the Society is to find the dragon bones buried underground. Link knows all of this, but he must have a source of information. Chapter 12 Interlude. Carlson didn't provide much information. Wilson Fisk bought an oil painting called Rabbit in a Blizzard for tens of thousands of dollars. Carlson felt that it was just like a blank piece of paper. The owner of this gallery is Vanessa Mariana, who sells oil paintings. She is quite famous and the gallery business is good. She is a beautiful woman with a strong temperament. When buying artworks, the value is often not the key, but the tax avoidance is. Of course, her artworks also have the potential to maintain and appreciate in value, which is also very important. Link briefly understood the situation and then began to walk around the house. His house lacked some embellishment. The apartment's decoration is mostly white, and the designer has left a lot of white space for the owner to decorate himself. Some oil paintings are indeed good choices, but Link needs to consider in advance what kind of oil paintings to choose. He went there to buy artworks for decorating his new apartment, and this had to be made clear. He didn't understand art, but he was going to buy some books. With his super thinking and super speed, he could definitely learn quickly. But not too much. After all, he is studying psychology, so he still needs to start from this aspect. Link's heart was moved during the day. Wilson Fisk would not go to the gallery during the day, so he needed to go at night. However, this time is not so easy to grasp. He first needs to determine the whereabouts of the target person. Link is now a professional gambler. He does not have card games every day. If he does, they are in the evening, usually starting at 8 o'clock in the evening. He is quite satisfied with his current job. I had a lot of free time, so I drove to the bookstore during the day and looked for some books related to oil paintings and other artworks, mainly common sense stuff. For example, painting methods, schools, etc. It is enough to master the basics in this regard. As an agent, you need to have a broad knowledge base. As the number of tasks increases, you can supplement a lot of knowledge by yourself. Although he doesn't have a study, the master bedroom is very large with bookcases and desks. He can enrich his bookcases and create an image of erudition. After buying the books, I found a bar. It was a mid-range bar, and most of the people who came were white-collar workers from the neighborhood, but there were not many people during the day. He chose a seat by the window, ordered a glass of bourbon, and then picked up a book to read. It was a nice way to kill time. This place is close to the gallery, and Link is ready to sit back and wait. His chances are few and far between, so he must not waste them. The book is not the point. He had already finished reading it when he parked the car just now. It only took him a few seconds. At an angle where no one was watching, he put the book between his legs and lowered his head as if he was looking for something. After Link got in touch with the agents, he has been enriching himself. It seems that it has only been more than a month, but what he has learned is enough for others to learn for several years. It can be said that this is another superpower, super learning ability, relying on super brain and super speed. Cigars are not suitable for smoking here, so he took out a pack of cigarettes, asked for an ashtray, and then smoked slowly, turning the pages of a book from time to time, and occasionally picking up the wine glass to take a sip. Time passed slowly, and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, more and more people started to come, and the bar returned to its original bustle. Link sat sideways in front of the window. On his right was a small round table and 3 high stools. 2 women were sitting there. After discussing for a while, they decided what to drink, and one of them got up and went to the bar. He came back with 2 glasses of wine and started chatting. "What happened this time?" asked one of the women. Woman B responded, "He's a jerk." Woman A asked, "Is this job like a printer? Will it suck your soul?" "No, that was my last job," Woman B reminded. Link found it somewhat interesting. He was also a little bored. After all, he had been sitting there for almost half a day. He divided the women into A and B and listened to their conversations, which were surprisingly interesting. "This time, the job is to let the exhaust fan ravage my brain." Woman A said in a helpless tone, "You feel bored because these tasks are a piece of cake for you." Woman B said affirmatively, "No, I'm not good at anything." Woman A immediately retorted, "Nonsense, you are good at lying." At this time, a man in a suit came over and said, "Hey, how about playing a love test? I think we are a good match." Woman A looked apologetic and said, "As much as I'd like to go, I'm a little busy right now." "Hey, I know you." The man in the suit suddenly said in surprise, "You seem to have red hair at that time. I've seen your talk show." This made the woman a little embarrassed, and Woman A said, "That was a long time ago." "Yes, I was 12 years old at that time." The man in the suit seemed to have drunk a little too much and did not understand the emotions of the 2 ladies at all. Woman B seemed unable to bear it any longer and said, "I'll play with you." "Okay," the man in the suit agreed. "Jessica, there's no need." Woman A called Woman B's name. "It doesn't matter." Jessica turned to the man in the suit and said, "But I don't like any love games. Why don't we try our strength? There is a dynamometer in the bar. Of course, it is not very professional, but it can indeed be used to test the strength of people. If I win, you pay for us, apologize to my friends, and then go wherever is cooler." The man in the suit was very confident and asked, "What if I win?" Jessica smiled and said, "I'll take you to the back to meet your little carrot." Jessica and the man walked over. The man took out a coin, put it into the machine, and then hit it with all his strength. Link didn't pay attention. If a woman made such a suggestion, she must have something to rely on. As expected, the woman won and hit the maximum score on the machine. Link turned around in surprise. He heard it very clearly and happened to meet Jessica's eyes when she came back. Looking at Link, Jessica walked back to her original position, winked at her female companion, and then whispered, "Look at this one next to it, it looks pretty good." Woman A turned her head and took a look. At this time, Link had turned back to read the book. She looked at Link's profile and nodded slightly. She also felt good. So she whispered, "Go pick him up. You haven't been in love for a long time. You just lost your job, so why not try to find a man?" Jessica seemed to be a little moved. She glanced at Link again and nodded, "Wait." Chapter 13 Jessica Jones. She picked up the money she had just won. Then stood up and sat down opposite Link, who looked up at her. At this moment, their eyes met, and Jessica felt her heart moved. Link also guessed who the other party was, a member of the future Defenders, Jessica Jones, who would be controlled and ravaged by the Purple Man in the future. From the looks of her, she hasn't encountered the Purple Man yet. "What's the matter?" Link asked. "I just won some money, I want to buy you a drink." Jessica said, "Besides, you have been sitting here since we came in. Even though the environment is so noisy, you are still reading a book. You should not be waiting for anyone. I listened to your conversation just now. Do you want to go on a date with me?" Link asked bluntly. Jessica was not embarrassed, but looked at Link boldly. Yes, I want to date you, but how we will proceed in the future depends on the situation. Then I accept it. Link agreed. He should indeed find a girlfriend. This woman was actually quite suitable. She had super strength and super jumping. She was definitely not Superman, but she was pretty good. But at this time, forget about inviting me to drink. I'd rather invite you to dinner. Okay. Jessica turned to look at her female companion, then used a smug look to indicate that she had won. But at this time Link said again, so are your friends coming with you? Hey! Jessica was stunned. You won't pretend to agree to me and then target her, right? It seems like you're not confident. Link laughed. When you were together, were all the men who came to chat her up targeting her? Well, what you said is basically in line with the actual situation. Jessica didn't look depressed, but looked like she was used to it. She is your friend, will you leave her here? Link then whispered, you just offended someone. Jessica suddenly realized and said, we really can't just abandon her, so let's go together. Let me see when you'll show your true colors. The two of them stood up, and Jessica called out, Tracy, let's go eat. As he said this, he placed the money for the drinks on the table and held it down with the cup. Tracy was stunned and asked, why did you drag me along with you when there is such a good opportunity? I offended someone just now. How can I leave you here alone now? Besides, I want to see if his target is you. Jessica said in a low voice. What? Tracy was stunned, and then was pulled out by Jessica. Link had put away his cigarette and followed behind with a book. After coming out, Link motioned for the two ladies to get in his car, but his car was a two-door, four-seater. The space in the back row was a little smaller. Who will sit in the back, ladies? Link opened the passenger door, pushed the passenger seat forward and asked. Jessica said, I'm wearing pants and I'm sitting in the back. Tracy looked at her skirt and there was nothing she could do to help her sister. Link didn't say much while driving, but two women, one on the right and one in the back, were looking at him. Link had already figured out the situation nearby. After all, Wilson Fisk was not stupid. If he was not active nearby, it would be too abrupt for him to suddenly go to the gallery. Therefore, he easily found a restaurant, parked the car, helped the two ladies get out of the car, and the three of them walked into the restaurant together. Although we didn't have a reservation, there was still a seat available. This is just a mid-range restaurant. Link moved chairs for the two of them, showing off his demeanor. Then the waiter handed over 3 menus. Link asked, what would you two like to drink? Tracy started out as a child star and has acted in movies and released albums. People say she is a natural-born star and that she becomes popular no matter what she does. Now she has her own radio show, Trixie says. She is beautiful, rich, and famous, so she has always been the target of men's pickup when she is with Jessica. Jessica believes that Link's main target is her sister Tracy. The two are sisters, but not related by blood. Jessica Jones was adopted by Tracy's mother. At this time, Jessica rolled her eyes, looked at the most expensive drink on the wine list, and immediately said it out. Link's expression remained unchanged. He nodded to the waiter to show his agreement, and then began to order food. After the three of them ordered their dishes, they started chatting. Let me introduce myself. My name is Kay Lin. I'm Chinese. Lin is my last name. What about you two? Jessica Jones, this is my sister Tracy Walker. Jessica said first and introduced, then rested her elbows on the table, approached Link and looked at Link with an obsessed look in her eyes. Link found it very funny. This woman just thought that his target was Tracy and that he was a scheming man. She seemed to have forgotten that it was she who took the initiative to approach him, but Link felt that this woman was very interesting. Her personality cannot be said to be bad, but she is still eccentric enough. She suffered an unfortunate childhood and was left alone in a car accident. Until now, she still doesn't dare to learn how to drive, which shows how great the psychological trauma she has suffered. I just heard you talking about work. Jessica, have you been unable to find a suitable job? Link simply chatted with Jessica directly and left Tracy aside for the time being. In fact, he didn't like Tracy at all. Tracy was sent to the director's room by her mother when she was a teenager. Later, she abused drugs and fooled around when she was a singer. He didn't even want this woman. Everything was fine before Jessica encountered the Purple Man. She did have a boyfriend, but he died, Killed by Jessica's mother. Yet. Jessica nodded. There are many reasons, and I don't want to talk about them, but every time I can get several months of salary compensation. Link said, so what do you like? Think about it carefully and find something you like to do. I like to get to the bottom of things. Jessica stared at Link and said, what do you do? Me? A professional gambler. Link said, I studied psychology in college, and became a police officer after graduation. After a one-year internship, I offended the local prosecutor before I was hired as a regular police officer. As a result, I was assigned to the West Midtown Police Station after I was hired as a regular police officer. That is the famous Hell's Kitchen. As a result, just a few days after I started working, I encountered a gang fight and I shot and killed more than 20 people. Link was talking about his experience, and the two women who were listening were stunned. Killing more than 20 people? Bragging? Link had no intention of stopping and continued to introduce himself. Chapter 14 Fast Forward. My administrative leave was over. But the captain gave me paid leave again because the Irish gang threatened to kill me, Link said. So I went to Las Vegas for vacation, and I won $5 million with $300 in a few days. I just realized that knowledge of psychology is very useful at the poker table. As a result, I also attracted the attention of the casino and was invited to participate in big poker games. Guess who I met? Jessica seemed to be listening to a mystery, but she still asked, oh, who did you meet? Tony Stark, and Justin Hammer. Link looked proud. 5 million per person, count me as 5 people, and I won everything in the end. I discovered my talent, so I came back, quit my job, and became a professional gambler. Jessica curled her lips and said, so you are a multimillionaire. Yes, I have to say that you have a good eye. You fell in love with me at first sight. Link wanted to tease her. Although what he said was true, most people would never believe it. I have been quite famous in New York recently. I have never lost a single card game. Now many people want to challenge me as a master. Jessica looked at Link and said, I don't think you look like a professional gambler, but a professional liar. Your suspicion is unfounded. Link didn't care about what the other party said, but was ready to discuss it. However, the drinks and appetizers came at this time. Let's eat first. The three of them then began to eat, but Link did not remain silent. He asked Jessica what she liked to do, and he hardly said a word to Trish. But Link was also multitasking as he was also monitoring the gallery. The dinner lasted more than an hour, and a bottle of wine was finished by the three of them. After dessert, Link called the waiter to settle the bill, and they had to use a credit card. Unless it is a small restaurant, you really can't escape the use of credit cards. Nice dinner. Tracy said at this time, but it's getting late, I wonder if you can take me home first. No problem. As expected, they were good sisters. She took the initiative to suggest that she go home first, and then Link and Jessica would have some alone time. Link readily agreed. Jessica didn't comment. The three of them got up and went out, sitting in the same order as when they came in. Link quickly took Tracy to her apartment. Jessica also got out of the car. The two of them were still living together at this time, but Tracy immediately grabbed her and said, don't miss the opportunity. Jessica bit her lip and then sat back in the passenger seat. Link said goodbye to Tracy and started the car. So Miss Jessica, would you be willing to visit my apartment? Link asked. You bought so many books about paintings and artworks. Are you planning to buy some to decorate your apartment? Jessica asked. It seems that you like to get to the bottom of things. With such a hobby, why don't you become a policeman, or a secret agent, which are both good choices for you? Link said. I don't like being controlled. Jessica said, I'm scary when I'm angry. Oh. Link laughed, I don't believe it. I'll see for myself when I get a chance. The car drove all the way back to the apartment and directly into the underground parking lot. Each apartment has its own underground parking spaces, 4 per household. Taking the elevator all the way to the top floor, Link opened the door and turned on the light. Come in. Jessica walked in and took a quick look. She quickly noticed the ceiling. The ceiling of the living room was made of glass. Is it made of glass? She asked curiously. Yes, there is sunlight all day long, and if you are lucky at night, you can see the stars. Link said. So can you see it now? Jessica asked. Let's try it. Link turned off the lights. The moonlight poured down, and the living room was not dark, it was even a little hazy. In such an atmosphere, a man and a woman quickly became entangled with each other and lay on the sofa, with the man on top and the woman on the bottom. Jessica gave Link a feeling of disharmony. She was restraining her movements. Jessica had not received any training and had no idea how to control her strength. He has never learned any fighting skills and relies entirely on his super strength to fight. Even in a low position, he is afraid of using too much force. Link was picked up directly and walked towards the bedroom. Jessica hugged Link's neck, not daring to use force and trying her best to restrain herself. More than an hour later, Jessica collapsed on the bed weakly, and Link got up and walked out, and soon came back with some water. "Drink some water. I'll go fill the bathroom." Link gave the water to Jessica, and then he went into the bathroom and filled the bathtub. When the water was almost full, he walked out, picked up Jessica and went into the bathroom. They both got into the bathtub together. Jessica recovered a lot. She lay in Link's arms, feeling the temperature of the hot water. She let out a long breath with a sweet smile on her face. He slid his fingers along the lines of muscle on Link's chest and said, "I'm with Tracy, and you're attracted to me." Still don't believe it." Link raised his eyebrows. "Your hairstyle and clothes are not very good. We will help you with your hairstyle tomorrow after you wake up. You'll know what you are like then." "Really?" Jessica wasn't very good at dressing up. Her hair was long and straight now, and the most annoying thing about it was that it was parted in the middle. "I mainly like your black hair." Link touched Jessica's hair. "Oh, by the way, you are Chinese." Jessica looked surprised. The two of them slept in each other's arms at night. When they woke up the next morning, they got up and washed up. Jessica ran to the kitchen and opened the refrigerator to find it was full of fruit juice drinks. "There's no food in your refrigerator?" Jessica asked as she picked up her clothes in the living room. Link was also picking up clothes, and at the same time he said, "Yes, I don't like to cook at home, I always eat out. Get dressed and we'll go have breakfast, then I'll do your hair." Jessica smiled sweetly and said, "Actually, Trish and I live together. I live in her apartment." "I know. I have very sharp ears. Have you forgotten?" Link raised his eyebrows at Jessica. "Do you want to move in? So fast?" Jessica came closer and looked up at Link. "Didn't I behave well last night?" Link bent down and kissed her gently. Jessica is 1.75 meters tall, not much different from Link. If she puts on a pair of high heels, she will be on the same level as Link. Chapter 15, Transforming Girlfriend. The two were outside a restaurant, drinking coffee and eating sandwiches, looking leisurely, and looking particularly comfortable while watching the crowd rushing to work. Link brought a gun, and Jessica asked about it. Link said that he was a multimillionaire now, so he still had to carry necessary weapons to avoid being kidnapped. Because of Link's precise control over his power, Jessica didn't discover his secret, and he wasn't ready to tell it for the time being. They both kept the secret in their hearts. The sisters Jessica and Tracy actually envy each other and are each other's warmth and sunshine. Both of them had bad experiences. Link was now thinking about finding the purple man and then killing him. This guy's ability was too buggy, so it would be better to kill him as soon as possible. After breakfast, Link drove Jessie Lai to a barber shop, a large one like the one teacher Tony had. Link said to the manager here, "Give this lady a hairstyle, a long wavy hair, split 3:7. The other party understood immediately and called a hairdresser and told him Link's request. The other party did not agree immediately, but said that he would look at the customer's face shape first. Link didn't object and asked Jessica to sit down. The hairdresser took a comb and adjusted Jessica's hairstyle, then readily agreed to Link's suggestion. This went on for more than an hour, and the first thing they started with was hair care. According to the hairdresser, the young lady was too careless with her hair. After that, it was trimmed slightly and then permed. Jessica's hair was very thick and she also had a pair of thick eyebrows, which also needed to be trimmed. The service was provided here. Link was not in a hurry. He smoked in the rest area and watched Jessica do her hair. A hairstyle can often transform a person, and Link enjoys watching his woman transform. Jessica looked in the mirror and found that she did look a little different after changing her hairstyle, but she was now wearing a pair of jeans, a women's suit jacket, and boots. Link applied for a membership card for Jessica, recharged it directly, and gave Jessica a business card of this place. "Come here regularly to get your hair done. Your hair is very thick and very good, but it still needs care. Link was very considerate. Most women can't stand him, and Jessica is no exception. She is essentially an ordinary woman. Link drove to Chanel and was immediately greeted by someone who said, "Welcome." Link pointed at Jessica and said, "Let her try all the clothes of the season, as well as shoes and perfume." "No problem." The shopping guide immediately led Jessica to get measured. Next, Jessica tried on each outfit like a model, and then came in front of Link. The shopping guides here are all trained. They will not let you try on clothes randomly, but will match clothes and shoes for you according to your body shape and appearance. As for perfume and cosmetics, it depends on personal preference, and Jessica is not very good at putting on makeup. Her eyebrows are very good and don't need any makeup, just trimming. She has big eyes and long eyelashes, which are all advantages. There is a professional makeup artist here. She first did makeup for Jessica and briefly introduced the cosmetics. She didn't sell anything to you directly because there is no need to do so. It just tells you what your face needs. Jessica is not too unfamiliar with these things. When Tracy was a singer, it was almost the same, but it was all stage makeup. Finally, they bought a set of cosmetics, several sets of clothes and shoes, and perfume. This time, Link did not need to apply for membership. They spent more than $200,000 and obtained membership. However, Link asked if they could teach makeup here, and also left Jessica's phone number so that they could be notified when new products arrive next season. Next stop was Cartier, watches and jewelry, and Jessica felt a little embarrassed. "Honey, did you buy too many things?" she said in embarrassment. "No, you've seen my cloakroom. It's still halfway to being full, but you women can't buy all your clothes at once." Link said, "Clothes should be bought according to the season. Take your time. Women's clothes are troublesome." Link bought all the men's clothes at once and just changed them up. Anyway, no one would remember how long you have worn the clothes because most of them are the same. The intelligence subjects Link deals with are all men, and they won't remember the subtle differences in your suit. But it's different for women. There are too many styles of clothes, and well-known brands hold fashion shows every quarter. If you fill up your wardrobe with all the clothes at once, they will all be out of style by the next quarter. Link asked Cartier to match Jessica's clothes with jewelry and watches. He bought 2 sets of jewelry and 2 watches. The price was not low, more than $600,000. Looking at Jessica in the mirror, she was completely different from the one in the morning. Jessica finally understood what Link meant. Link stood behind her, put his arms around her waist, and said, "How is it? Have you finished buying it now?" Jessica did not answer Link's question, but at this time Jessica raised her head slightly, and she found her confidence. "There are also pajamas and underwear, but you can go with Trish for these." Link said quietly, "I know you will choose carefully, right?" Jessica blushed, but still said, "It depends on your performance." "How was your performance tonight?" Link teased his girlfriend. The back seat of the car was filled with a row of shopping bags. The two first returned to Link's apartment. Jessica put the things one by one in the cloakroom. The other half of the empty space belonged to her, but it could not be filled for the time being. As for the old clothes, Link asked Jessica to pack them up and then donate them. But not today. Link still has to keep an eye on the gallery today, and he has booked a table at a high-end restaurant nearby. If Wilson Fisk goes tonight, Link can take Jessica with him because Jessica knows that Link wants to buy art to decorate his home. Jessica said, "How about inviting Trish to dinner tonight?" The corners of Link's mouth curled up slightly. He did not expose Jessica's little idea, which was to show off a little in front of his sister. Link didn't object. The two sisters always supported each other in the most difficult times. However, Tracy wanted to become a superhero very much and she was willing to risk her life for it, but Jessica didn't want to. There is a conflict of ideas between the two. Link said, "Okay, I've already booked the spot, you can just tell her the time and place." Chapter 16 Idealistic Abstract Painting. Before dinner, the two arrived at the restaurant, and Link activated his super hearing to monitor the area around the gallery. Not long after they sat down, Tracy arrived. She drove the car herself today. After she came over, she covered her mouth in surprise. "Oh my god, is that you, Jessica? How is it?" Jessica asked with a smile. "Is it a little hard to recognize?" "Of course, Chanel, Cartier." Tracy then whispered, it seems that he really is a multimillionaire. Yes, he said my hairstyle and clothes are terrible. Jessica covered her mouth and whispered to Tracy, I went shopping all day today, but I still haven't bought everything. I'll go home with you tonight. Go back, are you crazy? Tracy said with a shocked expression, you should strike while the iron is hot. Are you stupid? My underwear is still at home. The only things we didn't buy are underwear and pajamas. Jessica said a little embarrassedly. Women dress to please themselves, and the Americans are no exception. Tracy suddenly realized, then smiled and asked, what kind of dress are you going to buy? We'll see when the time comes. Jessica blushed. At this time, Link had already instructed the waiter to ask the chef to recommend today's dishes and pair them with wine. Then, based on the recommendations, they made additions and subtractions. After all, people's appetites and tastes are different. The waiter quickly brought the chef's recommendations, and Link asked the two ladies to add and subtract on their own, while he himself did not need to make any adjustments. Link chatted with the two while paying attention to the gallery. After a while, a convoy caught his attention. The convoy stopped in front of the gallery, and a conversation was heard from inside. Wilson Fisk had arrived, and he wanted to enter the gallery on his own and not allow anyone to follow him. Link and his friends had just finished eating and were about to chat for a while, but Link suddenly said, okay ladies, how about we go to another place? I wanted to buy some oil paintings yesterday. Okay. Tracy agreed first. She wanted to help her sister check again. The three of them checked out and left. Jessica and Link were in the same car. After getting in the car, she said, Jessica and I will go home tonight. After all, there are still a lot of things that need to be sorted. No problem, here's the key to the apartment. Take this. Link took out a card and handed it to Jessica. Remember to buy from big brands. I'm looking forward to it. Jessica knew that she couldn't afford those big brand products, so she hesitated for a moment but still took it. Do you want me to go to work? Jessica asked suddenly, or do you want me to stay at home? It's your choice, Link said. But don't rush. Find a job you like, instead of giving up halfway like you did in the past. Women can have their own careers. Well, I'll think about it carefully. Jessica began to face her future. Link drove to the gallery, opened the door for Jessica, and helped her out of the car. She was wearing a black low-cut dress, a woolen coat, and a pair of high-heeled boots. The two met up with Tracy and entered the gallery together. Link introduced it, I checked it out. This is a famous place. They have all modern oil paintings. I was planning to come and see you yesterday, but I ran into you guys. Jessica looked at the paintings hanging at the door and asked, what are these paintings about? That depends on the individual. These paintings all have their own names, but whether they can touch you depends on your own experience. Lin K said with a smile, this kind of work is very idealistic. Some people can't understand it at all, while others like it very much. The designer left many spaces blank for the owner to decorate. Yeah, I see a lot of places are indeed empty. Jessica nodded as well, and the three of them began to walk inside, pausing briefly at each work along the way. Link hasn't met the one he likes yet, so he didn't immediately pay attention to Wilson Fisk. He doesn't need to look for the other person, but just needs to attract Vanessa Mariana. After all, she is the manager and art dealer here, and she can judge whether the guests will buy oil paintings. The three of them stopped in front of a work with red as the main color, or rather, Link stopped. He looked at it with his X-ray vision and found the hidden signature of the author. Of course, it was not the deceased great painter. He felt that this work gave him some feelings, the brushwork was good, and it felt very special. The red, orange, and other colors seemed messy, but they made him feel the warmth. Thinking about the dining room at home, it seemed very suitable for this painting. Jessica looked at Link, and then looked at it carefully. She followed Link's advice and did not look at what was painted specifically, but looked at the overall feeling it gave people. Wilson Fisk arrived today to invite Vanessa Mariana to dinner. He fell in love with this woman when he was buying an oil painting here. At this time, one of them invited the other and the other agreed. But I can't leave now, there are still a lot of guests here. Wilson Fisk said he could stay alone and would not delay the other person's work, or he admired the way the woman looked when she was working. Vanessa soon spotted Link and his two companions. They were standing in front of a painting. From the way the man looked at the painting, she knew that he wanted to buy it. So she walked over and stood on Link's left side. Link held Jessica on his right side, and Tracy stood on Jessica's side. "Sir, are you very interested in this painting?" Vanessa did not discuss the artistic conception of the painting herself. After all, Link did not come alone, but brought a female companion. Link turned his head and looked over. This woman did have an outstanding temperament, but she also liked to get close to danger. "Yes, I feel this painting is very warm," Link said. "I want to hang it in my restaurant. If I have more children in the future, it would be more suitable." Jessica blushed after hearing this. "Is she going to have a baby with her?" Vanessa nodded slightly. It seemed that this man understood art. She asked, "Sir, you have a deep understanding of art?" "No, I don't know much about these, especially these abstract paintings." Link shook his head and said, "I just bought a few books recently and know a little about painting techniques and schools, mainly for decorating my new apartment. But I understand psychology. I think these works are more idealistic. It depends mainly on the collector's thoughts. It is always people who give them value." "Well said." Wilson Fisk suddenly spoke from the side. He had been looking at Vanessa. When he saw Vanessa walk to Link's side, he naturally saw Link as well. "Mr. Lin, do you still remember me?" Chapter 17, sighed Dieter. "Mr. Fisk." Link looked surprised. "How could I not remember? That card game changed my life." After the two shook hands, Link asked, "Mr. Fisk, are you here to buy paintings as well?" "I bought one before. The works here are really good, and I totally agree with Mr. Lin's point of view." Wilson Fisk spoke slowly, "The value of art lies in the people. Mr. Lin is no longer a policeman." Link nodded and said, "Yes, that trip to Las Vegas made me a multimillionaire. Why would I become a police officer, especially the West Midtown police station? That experience also made me realize the advantages of psychology, so I resigned after returning. I just sold my old house and bought a new apartment. With the salary of a police officer, it would be difficult for me to decorate it. I might as well change my career." Link took out a business card and handed it to the other party. "I am now a professional gambler. I have recently participated in some poker games in New York. I am quite famous for my skills. I admire Mr. Lin's attainments in psychology." Fisk said, "I hope to learn from him again when I have the chance. I didn't have this idea at the time, and I didn't leave the contact information of several people, especially Lady Alexandra. If I were to do it again, I might not be able to beat her." Link said with a regretful tone. Fix said, "That lady doesn't like public places. She only appears when she has business to discuss. Next time I see her, I will mention you to her. This is still my business card. I admire Mr. Lin's talent very much. Gentlemen, why don't you let me talk about business first?" Vanessa said from the side. She did not interrupt the two people before, but joined in at the right time after they had basically finished their conversation. "Of course." Fisk immediately took a step back. And Link also said, "I like this painting very much, can you deliver it?" "Of course, please come with me to register your address and delivery time." Vanessa made an inviting gesture. Link walked over with Jessica on his arm, and Tracy followed. Fisk no longer had any suspicions at this point. This man was not coming for him. He looked at Link's business card, which only had a name and phone number. This man had indeed become a multimillionaire, but it was undeniable that there was no need for him to be a frontline police officer again. Link took out a check and signed a check, asking for $30,000 for the painting. Link left the address and then said, "Just deliver it at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning." "No problem, I'll deliver it on time." Vanessa didn't show her expression just because she sold a painting. "Is there anything else you need, Mr. Lin?" "I haven't finished my tour yet, but it looks like Mr. Fix is waiting for you, so let's come back next time." Link said with a smile, "Remember to notify me if there are any new works. I just bought one. Also, please recommend some artworks, especially the artworks." "No problem, here's my business card." Vanessa exchanged business cards with Link and then saw them off from the gallery. Vanessa turned around and came to Wilson Fisk and asked, "He didn't buy it for your sake, did he?" "No, Mr. Lin is an excellent psychologist. If it weren't for me, he might have continued to browse other works." Fisk said, "It's me who disturbed your business." "It doesn't matter. He left his business card and asked me to recommend some colleagues. Vanessa smiled and said, "This is the first time I've seen someone choose art from a psychological perspective." Fisk has his own understanding, saying, "Just like the one I bought, a truly good work will be deeply rooted in people's hearts." Link didn't have a deep conversation today. Intelligence work requires caution, patience, and especially not impatience. Besides, it's very interesting. After coming out, Link walked Jessica to Tracy's car, leaned over the passenger window and said, "Come back as soon as possible. I will miss you." Jessica blushed and said, "I will." The two kissed lightly, and then Link took a step back, waved goodbye to them, then returned to his car, started the car and left. When he got home, he took out his secure cell phone and called Carlson to report the situation. "I met Wilson Fisk today. He is pursuing the female art dealer in the gallery," Link said. "Good, that's a good start. What are you going to do next?" Carlson asked. "I bought an oil painting. The woman has good taste in art. I told her today that the house needs more artworks for decoration." Link said his plan. "I also asked her to recommend other art dealers to me. I plan to start with her. After all, I am a multimillionaire now. But my artistic accomplishment is not that good. Is there any expert in this field in the bureau? Let them go to the gallery first and then give me some professional advice." "No problem. After all, you paid for it yourself, and I won't let you suffer any loss. I'll send someone to take a look first." Carlson understood the situation quite well. After all, Link spent real money. If it is not worth the money after buying it, then Link is really just paying for work. Link joined SHIELD purely out of personal hobby or curiosity. However, his personal abilities are still very outstanding, and he is one of the most suitable candidates for this mission. "We had considered letting Natasha go before, but Wilson Fisk doesn't really look at beautiful women differently, and his private life is extremely monotonous." Originally, SHIELD would not care about people like him as it was not within their business scope, but his power suddenly expanded, and this matter made SHIELD pay some attention. At the same time, it is also a test for Link. After all, ordinary intelligence gathering cannot clearly see Link's potential. Jessica and Tracy returned to Tracy's house, where Jessica had a room and they had been living together. "Jessica, are you really going to move there?" Tracy asked. "Is Lin a playboy?" "No, I haven't lost my mind." Jessica shook her head and said, "It seems that what he said is true. He turned out to be a policeman. I saw some photos in his home. There are some photos of him in police uniform, including his graduation from the police academy. And the big guy I met tonight also confirmed what he said. He wasn't bragging. At the same time, there is no trace of women in his family. I am very talented in this aspect. But now I'm thinking about finding my own business. Do you know how much he spent on me today? Almost $1 million US. He asked you to come out to work?" Tracy asked in surprise. Chapter 18 Investigation Direction. "No, I asked him if he wanted me to work or stay at home, and he told me to choose for myself." Jessica had changed into her home clothes and was lying on the sofa, a little confused. "But I don't know what to choose now. Did you see that Vanessa today? How do you feel about her?" Tracy thought for a moment, then said, "She's an outstanding woman. Mr. Fisk has been watching her, and Lin seemed to have noticed it, so he left early. However, what Lin said is true. So he is really a professional gambler. This is not a good thing." "Yet." Jessica was confused, but quickly said, "Can I be a woman like Vanessa? Why do you want to be her? I don't see that Lin is interested in that woman." Tracy immediately persuaded, "You are you. That's not what I meant. I mean becoming a woman with my own career. I can't think of anything I'm good at." Jessica looked at Tracy with a worried look on her face. "Do I want to be a housewife?" Tracy rolled her eyes and reminded her, "You've been together for less than 2 days. You're thinking too much. You should spend more time together. But financially you do." At noon the next day, Link was having lunch in a restaurant and received a text message from Carlson, which contained information about Vanessa's gallery's works, as well as information about Vanessa's personal connections, etc. It contains information about other art dealers, and some of the works are valuable. Meanwhile, there's information about Vanessa's date with Fisk last night, and things weren't going well because while they were having dinner, a Russian gang suddenly showed up looking for Fisk. Carlson reminded Link to pay attention to a masked vigilante in Hell's Kitchen, and Link realized that it was Daredevil. It seems that he has already appeared, or rather, Matthew Murdock has appeared a long time ago, but he has not been a vigilante before. After receiving training from the Stick Man, he still chose to go to school and study law. S.H.I.E.L.D's resources are indeed huge. They collected so much information so quickly. Link deleted it all after reading it. He was not planning to go to the gallery today. It was not good to go too frequently or too often. Anyway, he knew the specific situation, so it would not be a problem for him to report it directly to Carlson when the time comes. However, something still needs to be done, such as starting with the United Construction Company, whose accounts had problems, which were previously discovered by a woman named Karen Page. The company's accounts were managed by an accountant named Langley, who had been responsible for money laundering. He was quite skilled, but he knew his situation and that he could be killed at any time, so he had to keep the secret. He must have a lot of evidence in his hands. Link thought about it and decided to investigate this person. Langley has his own accounting firm, and they will do a very good job of keeping the accounts. Link easily found this man's accounting firm and drove there to stake out the case. Link did not contact Jessica today, but instead kept an eye on Langley Owsley. His company and home were the first places to investigate. Then use your level 6 authority to investigate whether this person has any safe in the bank. There is no need to open it. Use X-ray vision to see if there is any evidence first. But the most important thing is not these, but the real purpose of the hand. Mrs. Gao is the easiest one to investigate, and Link also needs recording or eavesdropping equipment. Jessica and Tracy went to the La Perla boutique together. This is an Italian lingerie brand. As a consultant, Tracy chose sexy ones for Jessica. Jessica was a little absent-minded, and Tracy asked curiously, "What are you thinking about?" "He never called," Jessica confessed. Tracy rolled her eyes and said, "You've really been seduced by him. Should I give him a call?" Jessica asked. "No. You can't do that. It will make you look like you are checking on him." Tracy reminded her, "But you can ask him if he wants to have dinner with you in the evening, and tell him that you are buying underwear." Jessica's eyes lit up, and she immediately took out her phone and dialed directly. Link was on his way to the New York branch of S.H.I.E.L.D. to get some equipment. After answering the phone, he asked, "Did you miss me?" "You can guess, but I'm at La Perla right now, picking out underwear and pajamas." Jessica's mouth curled up slightly. Link's eyes lit up, and he immediately said, "Let's have dinner together tonight. Do you want to officially move into my house today?" "Okay, where are we going to eat?" Jessica gave Tracy a look, "Same restaurant as last night." "Okay, you make the appointment." Link suddenly changed his mind. "You still have a lot to learn. In the future, I might take you to some card games and chat with those rich ladies. In order to avoid you getting bored, you should learn more." "Are you driving?" Jessica asked suddenly. "Yes, I have some things to do today. Being a professional gambler requires more than just skills. There are even many things to learn and you need to have a wide network of contacts." Link said. "Got it. Then you go ahead and I'll book it for 6 o'clock. Jessica stopped pestering him and they hung up the phone. Tracy immediately asked, "How is it?" "He asked me to move in officially. After buying the things, we'll go back and clean up, and then have dinner together in the evening, at the same restaurant as yesterday." Jessica then called to make an appointment, and the two of them started shopping. But Jessica also understood that she shouldn't buy too much at one time, just enough to wear for the time being, and then let the store notify her next quarter. The two then went straight home, and Jessica gathered her things and packed most of them to be donated. It's not that she doesn't like him, but she doesn't think it's appropriate to bring him to Link's house. She has realized the huge gap between herself and Link. Of course, many women don't care about this and even flock to it, but she can't. Jessica has been thinking about what she can do, even if it is just to narrow the gap. Of course, she also needs to consider what to do if they break up in the future. She is special, can Link accept it? She didn't dare to think about this. After all, men might not accept that their women were extremely strong. Or what if she accidentally hurt Link? This is what Jessica is most worried about, and she doesn't want to rely on Link financially all the time, but what can she do? Link arrived at the branch at this time, received the equipment from the equipment department, and learned how to use and install it before leaving. After returning home, he temporarily put the things in the secret armory, where he collected some weapons and ammunition. Chapter 19 Searching. Link arrived at the restaurant before 6 o'clock, and soon the three of them gathered together again, chatting and laughing while enjoying dinner. The three of them then went to Tracy's house, sat there for about an hour, and returned to Link's apartment with Jessica's things, and the two officially lived together. At night, Jessica changed into her new pajamas. Link's wolf nature was aroused and he did all kinds of things worse than those of an animal. When she woke up the next morning, Jessica leaned into Link's arms and said, "Should we put some food in the refrigerator? You decide, but are the things you cook delicious?" Link expressed his doubts. "It's okay." Jessica hesitated, and Link's heart sank to the bottom. He was considering whether to cook by himself, for his own stomach. "Okay, no matter what, we have to get up now and fill our stomachs." Link stood up, picked up Jessica and went into the bathroom together. He didn't do anything reckless. He was not ready to be a father yet, so he had been taking measures. The two of them dressed neatly and left home, and came to the underground parking lot. After getting in the car, Link asked, "Can you drive?" "I can't drive." Jessica's heart tightened. "I was in a car accident when I was a child." Link nodded and said, "I see. I'm sorry." "It's okay, I just can't drive," Jessica said. They went to have breakfast, and then Link took Jessica to makeup lessons and drove directly to Langley Owsley's home. He used his X-ray vision to observe and found the alarm line here, then blocked it with equipment, and observed whether there were any surveillance cameras before sneaking in. There was no need to search, I just used my X-ray vision to find a safe. It was an older style safe that required a key and a dial combination, which were not difficult. A piece of wire opens the key lock, and then the dial password, which is no longer a problem. Everything is transparent to Link. After opening it and looking through the documents inside, they were just some regular documents and some cash, no evidence of a crime. He closed the safe, restored it, then quietly retreated, removed the blocker, and left. He was not disappointed. How could this man, who had helped the gangs launder money for so many years, keep the things at home so easily? Link was actually looking for a bank safe deposit box key. Generally speaking, this is a safer measure, as many banks only recognize keys and passwords, not people. However, it is not easy to find it, because a lot of similar information will not appear on the internet. Link did not find a similar key in the other party's house just now. Langley didn't have any on him, so now the only thing left was his office, and Link visited as a customer. His funds do need an accountant. He has not purchased any stocks yet, so he needs an accountant to help calculate taxes. "Mr. Lin, what may I need from you?" Link came to the accounting firm and was received by the front desk. "I have some funds, all in cash, and I would like to consult on tax and investment issues," Link said. "That's no problem at all. I can introduce you to an accountant from our firm." The receptionist didn't ask how much money it was. Link's clothes were not ordinary. Link said awkwardly, "Can you introduce me to your boss?" "Sir, our accounting firm is very strong." The receptionist was about to politely criticize Link. Link suddenly interrupted her, "I have $30 million in funds, and I hope your boss will come forward." The front desk clerk immediately smiled and said, "No problem, please wait a moment." Link then nodded in satisfaction and stood aside waiting while the receptionist picked up the phone and called Langley's office. Soon, he was invited in. "Hello, Mr. Lin, welcome to Langley Accounting Firm. I am Langley Owsley. I've heard of Mr. Owsley, so I came here." Link smiled and shook hands with the other party. And then both of them sat down. Langley asked, "Has Mr. Lin heard of me?" "Yes, to be honest, I am now a professional gambler, and I participate in the card games of some upper-class people in New York." Link said without hesitation, "I have just started this profession not long ago. I was a policeman before, and I have no experience in the profession of accounting." "Oh." Langley Owsley was a little confused. Seeing his appearance, Link explained, "I won a large sum in Las Vegas, $25 million, and I have proof of funds from the casino." The other party suddenly realized that he had become rich suddenly. "After that, I participated in some poker games and never lost, so my bankroll increased." Link continued, "But now it is January 2007, and tax season is coming soon." Langley Owsley immediately understood that this was a way to avoid taxes, so he said, Time is a bit tight right now. In addition to some consumption, the best way is to buy some stable stocks first, and then plan future investment projects in detail after the tax season. Link looked like he was listening carefully, but his eyes were constantly observing the office. He gave up on the safe here because Langley would never put such important evidence here. He was looking for clues, especially the key to a bank safe, the kind that wouldn't register personal information. What Link feared most was that he had hidden the things abroad, in which case Link would have no way of finding them, so he could only try his luck. Or maybe Langley has some kind of safe house or something like that, which would be reflected on the key. The key he carries with him is not special, and he doesn't have any at home, so it can only be the office. To put it bluntly, his office was safer than his home, and Link was looking for a special key. Not a bad idea. Link agreed. Someone else has mentioned that the country encourages investment in the stock market, so you can avoid paying a lot of taxes. But it's just a temporary deposit in the stock market. Am I right? Yes, once the funds leave the stock market, they will naturally be taxed. Langley Osley nodded, but why should we leave? The key lies in the profitability of the investment. Of course, Mr. Lin, you can look for financial institutions on Wall Street, but time is too short now. If you look hastily, the results will be uncertain. Link nodded, thought for a moment and said, then I am going to entrust these matters to you. On the one hand, there is the issue of tax filing, and on the other hand, I want to buy shares of Stark Industries. This should be very stable, right? Chapter 20 Discovery. Yes, Stark Industries stock has been growing steadily. It's a very good investment. At least there won't be any problems in the short term. Langley Ousley agreed. We can handle it for you, including the tax issue for April. In addition, it would be best if you could give us some of Mr. Lin's spending records as well. Link nodded and said, of course, I've spent a lot recently. Nearly $1 million of it was spent on my girlfriend, and I bought myself some clothes and a painting for $30,000. Of course, I recently had the idea of purchasing a large number of artworks, and I just met an art dealer. I will provide proof of subsequent consumption. It's a very good investment, and it's best to have professionals involved. Langley gave professional advice. Then asked for the preparation of the contract and invited Link to the sofa nearby for a cup of coffee. The corners of Link's mouth curled up slightly, with a look of satisfaction. In fact, he already knew the special key. It was in the drawer of Langley's desk, just buried under a pile of documents. He remembered the key. After the contract was signed, Link then signed a commission agreement, and the accounting firm then connected with the bank to start purchasing shares of Stark Industries. Finally, the stock holding document proof will come into Link's hands, and Link will hand over a full $30 million in funds to them. The entrusted funds for 1 year are $300,000. Of course, this is not the entire entrusted funds. If Link has any other fund operations in the future, he will be given commissions of different amounts depending on the situation. Link left the accounting firm with satisfaction. He returned home immediately and started searching for similar keys on the internet. He soon found a result, but it was a promotional page of a safe manufacturing company, so it was still difficult to find the bank. There is no bank mark on this type of key. The main purpose is to keep it confidential. Even if someone else gets it, you won't be able to find the right place without knowing the specific information. Link estimated that the safe deposit box rented by Langley must be the headquarters of a large bank. There are many such headquarters in New York, and he can search one by one, starting with the bank near his company. This will take a lot of time, but Link did not ask for help from S.H.I.E.L.D. He has many secrets, so it is better for him to find them by himself. In the end, the most he can do is submit a report. If you ask for help, some behaviors cannot be explained. After learning how to put on makeup, Jessica went to the supermarket. She thought about the fruit juice drinks in the refrigerator, so she bought some milk, bread, jam, salad dressing, etc., so that she could at least make some sandwiches at home. Then he took his things, called a taxi, and returned to the apartment. She saw Link as soon as she entered the room, holding his laptop and trying to resist bending. Hey, honey, do you need help? Jessica was carrying a lot of things and ran to the kitchen. Link immediately stood up and walked over, then helped her put the things on the island counter, then opened it and took a look. Do you really want to cook? Link asked curiously. At least the two of us can make sandwiches, otherwise we have to go downstairs to find a restaurant when we are hungry. Jessica asked with a roll of her eyes. That's true. Link agreed with Jessica this time. After all, he was not hungry, but what about Jessica? Link also needs to eat, but most of his energy consumption depends on the sun. However, the sun replenishes energy, not nutrition. He opened the refrigerator and put most of the things in it. The things that needed to be washed were placed in the sink. Link then said, the house lacks some electrical appliances. I only have a coffee machine, but I do have an oven. It was included with the decoration, but I haven't used it yet. The instruction manual is in the oven. This is a large oven. Jessica said, I'll watch over it and finish it. I'll go change my clothes and you can clean it, okay? Fruit drinks are not fruit after all. Link obediently turned on the faucet and began to wash carefully. He controlled his strength perfectly so as not to damage the fruit. Soon Jessica came out in her normal pajamas and asked, where did you go today? I went to the accounting firm. April is the tax filing season, and I need to avoid taxes. I decided today to buy shares of Stark Industries. Link had some small plans. He bought shares of Stark Industries and waited for Tony Stark to develop the Jellicle missile. By then, the stock price would go up and he could sell it. Wait until Tony Stark returns from his ordeal, has self-enlightenment, and his soul is sublimated. Then he will shut down the weapons department, and when Stark's stock plummets, he will buy it back. Anyway, he doesn't have much money, but it's not too little either. Although he can't join the board of directors, he can still get dividends. S.H.I.E.L.D. will be disbanded in the future, and then Coulson will secretly rebuild S.H.I.E.L.D., but by that time Link probably will be among the Avengers. He can perform no worse than Hawkeye and Black Widow, so he should not be kicked out. By then, with the support of Stark Industries, he will not be short of funds. This is a temporary investment. After all, I became rich suddenly. I still have to be cautious about investment. Stark Industries stock is very stable. Jessica nodded slightly and said, that's a good idea. The fruit was hanging there. Link turned around and got out a bottle of bourbon, and then a cigar. Want a drink? Okay. Jessica walked over. The two sat on the sofa. Link turned on the TV, then poured Jessica a glass and concentrated on his cigar. Jessica asked, is this necessary? No, I personally prefer the aroma of tobacco, and it's paired with plum-flavored bourbon, which is my favorite. Link said, of course, most people at the poker game smoke cigars. By the way, I have a card game tomorrow night. It will start at 8 and end at midnight at the latest. Will you take me with you? Jessica asked nervously. No, I rarely bring my wife or girlfriend to a card game. It's only on very special occasions. Don't be nervous. Link looked at her and smiled, tomorrow is a technical game. 10 million in funding, you can't imagine who invited me. Who? Jessica asked. Tony Stark. Link was also surprised. When he came back to look for the key just now, he received a call. It turned out to be Tony Stark. This phone number was not given by Link, but was obtained by Tony Stark from somewhere else. Link could tell that Tony Stark was not convinced. His desire to win is too strong. End of chapter. Like and subscribe for more chapters.